think that emoji's too far. I'll include that one.
Probably is gonna
Oh,
be. What
I'm having
if you
too much
think
fun.
it is? Then it definitely is.
I mean, Discord wouldn't flag it. So, I
Discord
mean,
flags everything.
I'm trying to find the emoji I do want. The cat one's really good, actually. That way I'm including the funny community in my message.
All
That's what I'm
inclusive.
looking for, though. Nah, I think that'll do. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, that's okay. I think that'll be well received for those that see it.
Chloe just went live. How does that keep happening?
What's that?
Chloe just went live.
No, it's her usual Monday. That's what she does.
Are we live?
We are live.
I'm gonna go just have a look.
That's perfect.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Looking at
Oh,
Discord.
dang, I made a typo.
Well, you can edit it.
Oh well, message getting deleted.
No, you
All
can
of
edit.
that.
You
All
can
of
edit.
that.
No, you can edit. You
No,
can edit.
no,
You
no.
can edit. God damn it, Kieran. It's a bit much.
I did think of it. I think it's really good.
I
think-
I need to have a look at everything else quickly first. Hang on.
I think it will really appeal to. Who will it? Never mind. I don't know who it would appeal to. To be perfectly honest.
Well, that's intriguing.
Hang on. Very good. Very good.
and you see, I done not bait them because we are, for anyone that's already here, we will have a special guest star who may or may not be the face of Summer Games Fest. Okay, just gotta wait and see.
Probably not.
No, Pete, trust me. Like, listen, guys, they will be here.
You absolutely
Possibly.
guarantee that.
But the only way you're gonna know is if you show up.
That's right.
So tell your friends.
All
Which at the moment is like telling an empty room. It's just like, yeah, come and join us. Like,
Yeah.
I know we got to sell ourselves
Yeah,
and everything,
yeah,
but we need an audience first. We shouldn't be making bold promises.
So you've been at like a stand-up gig and telling the audience who are already there and paid for tickets to come along and join in the show.
We promise this is going to be a great show, but oh dear.
The funny thing is, though, that Discord message, all I do is hear it in Kieran's, like, well, that was some weekend, huh? He's like, hello, audience. Or, hello, chat.
Well, I order that was some weekend, huh?
I'm not sure what to think of that.
Oh, goodness gracious. Ooh.
All right, chat.
All right, are we keeping
5
you awake,
minutes.
Karen? We keeping 6
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
My clock must be ahead then. That's fine.
54, my friend. 54.
Is my fan too loud? Of course, it doesn't matter till chat turns up.
It might be a bit loud when you're talking, because you're gauged.
Yeah, so from what I've gauged, your mic literally turns on at the sound of when it picks up your speaking. That's when we hear it,
Yeah.
but even then, it's not that bad, I guess.
It's
Oh.
not
It's
the
not doing a
worst,
little
but
bit. Yeah.
it
I turned
always
it
shows
off.
up a lot worse in the recording. So
I went in and turned it off. I don't really need it.
it just
I just like
contributing
comforting
to
noise.
global warming.
It is not down to individuals that are contributing to global warming. Especially if you follow Elon Musk's jet Twitter, where this guy tweets out the route that Elon Musk's private jet goes. That dude.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, no, because it's open information. And he just goes from Austin to California, he's going to the grocery store, and it gives how many carbon units it burns and everything. It's like, oh wow.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, nope. Me switching to paper straws isn't gonna do nothing in the face of that.
No, probably not. Probably not. So we're just waiting for now. Just waiting.
Yep.
Ciaran looks like he's slapping us.
Hmm?
You look like you're slapping us. So you're doing that.
Oh yeah, no, I was dragging my charger in the back of my laptop.
Ah, I see. You're slapping the camera or getting rid of a fly in your room or something.
Some people would pay money for that. Oh, look,
I
no
did-
one's here. Mhm.
I did swat a moth the other night. It was pretty good. Very accurate.
Good stuff.
Ah. Chatty chat. Come out and play.
As a late and as a Monday, to be fair.
I know, but
I
I
thought
mean,
we'd see more
it's
Americans.
2 p.m. On the East Coast.
I have no idea.
And as we know, Americans do not have lives; they just work. Because that is the way of capitalism.
That is.
See,
I
when
thought-
like,
Well, I thought that was Japanese.
No, the Americans are number
oh, well,
two.
you know, no, the Japanese, like quite literally though, like no joke, the Japanese
Yeah.
way of living sounds like hell.
Yeah.
But Americans and Germans are next in line after the Japanese.
It's not good, man. It's not good. For any
It is.
Japanese folks out there watching this, I feel for you.
I do, yeah, as well. Very.
God love you and God bless you. And all your days and hours.
Fight the system. Come on, chat. Don't leave me hanging. 3 more minutes.
Yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say, we've still got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's time.
I'm
Yeah.
sober though, that's the problem. Sober and hyper.
That's never a good
That
combination.
is not a good combination at all.
What is that noise?
Oh, that's me.
Oh. Are you just bored?
Mostly.
Okay. I'm glad to know that we are entertaining you with our riveting conversations.
Ah.
And that we're clearly so engaging.
If you were a shipbuilder, every conversation you had would be a riveting conversation.
I mean, that could have sounded a little worse, but I know what you said.
I'm a genius. Why won't anyone pay attention to me? That's gonna be the name of my biography.
What's that? Sorry?
I'm a genius and nobody pays attention to me.
It's too long of a title.
I think that's what
Not
most
quite
billionaires
punchy
say.
enough.
To be fair,
Most what, Ciaran?
that's what most billionaires say every day.
That I'm
It's like Elon bought
genius?
Twitter.
That's what I should do. I should buy a social media company.
I mean, I'm not sure you've got that kind of money.
No, not yet.
But or make your own. And, like, what's the gimmick? Because like you gotta do something new. You can't just be like Twitter 2.0. You know, you gotta do like, I don't know. Perhaps a social media thing. It's like a nightlight.
Well, there you go. It's a Twitter for only people who have dogs, and that's it.
Okay.
Or for furries, and it's like you only speak in like animal noises.
Oh, it would definitely get invaded by furries, for sure.
No, the what I'm saying is we cater to them.
Cater to the furries.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, why?
Because they're actually very nice people, and they
Some
pay
of them are.
lots of money.
Some
for
of them
their
are
costumes.
absolutely degenerate.
Well, but I think that's true of any social group.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
usually me. I'm a degenerate at any social
I'm a degenerate as well, but, you know.
I'm nothing but a classy gentleman.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can be a gentleman and be a degenerate.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
Oh, I like that.
not me. I'm very tame. I feel.
I've
Well-
noticed that.
In that
You have-
department, in terms of competitive aspects, I am not tame. FYI, do not do not
Yeah.
openly challenge me in game chat in any competitive game we are losing.
That's just your generation.
So yeah, you youngsters can't keep a lid on it.
Oh my gosh.
See me, I'm mellow. I'm Pete.
Yeah, Pete and
I am
Mellow.
not mellow.
There
I
you
am not
go.
mellow.
There's 2 words.
I grew
in
up
the
in that
same
generation.
conversation.
I just think the worst rage I've ever had has been Injustice 2 online.
Because it was an
Oh,
injustice.
Street Fighter. Oh, don't, because Street Fighter 4 really got to me.
See, you just come up against like button spammers and you can't do anything against them,
Mhm.
and like it really does. It's infuriating. But nonetheless, shall we get a show on the road?
Yes, let's do that.
We shall.
Okay. So we're
Hold
on episode 125, correct?
125.
This is gonna be fun. Sober brain doesn't have.
Mambo number 5.
Did you know there is a Mambo number 1 from like the 20s? I just found that out yesterday. There you go, chat. There's some information. It's actually a really good song. If you like 20s music, which I do.
Okay. Right, we're starting the show in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Rapid Reviews Radio Podcast, episode 125. We are going to talk about a lot of things today, so stay tuned. I am your co-host, Kiley Wilde, and I'm joined by 2 other co-hosts. We've got Pete.
Yo.
And Ciaran.
Yo.
The Yo Boys. But before we get started, because we actually have a really lot of information to cram into a small amount of time, that's what she said, I do want to check in on everyone. So, Pete, how have you been over the weekend?
Very busy. Played golf with my dad on Saturday morning, very early in the morning. It was a very nice morning as well, because nice and hot. So, got the sun. As those viewers can probably see, I'm a bit brown. Yeah. And then birthday party yesterday afternoon for my niece and nephew and my dad.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, there was loads of people there, and it was just absolutely
Did you have
exhausting.
cake?
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind
Of
of
course.
cake?
It was an egg-free cake that had fruit on top and loads of cream. It
Yeah.
was like a sponge cake. It
I
was very
forgot.
nice.
People in the UK put fruit on and in their cakes.
I was just on top. I could deal with it.
Yeah, it's the same with like a burger. You don't like things on top of your burger. You can just like
Yeah.
peel it off.
Now, but that sounds fun. I don't get to eat cakes very often because they have weed
No.
in them. So
Oh, of
I'm
course.
gonna
Yes.
pretend that I also get to eat cake.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. So, but yeah, Kieran,
Yay.
Yes, Pete.
how's things?
You know what, Pete? I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine, but I wanted to talk. How was your
You don't
weekend?
listen to me.
I guess it was fine. We had some great shows for us, which we'll be talking about today. Other than that, nothing to report really. To be perfectly honest.
Okay,
Audience,
Yeah.
Kylie.
I want you to know, audience, this question is asked every week. It's not a new surprise question. So they could come up with, oh, aliens landed on my front yard. And then I had a great weekend in Mars. Which that's what I'll say. That's what I did for the weekend.
Okay, that's
Which will actually come up
great.
later. But
Cool.
no, I mostly, what?
I just said cool.
Oh, okay. I mostly just got really excited about the showcase, which I'm dying to talk about, but I'm going to let these wonderful, handsome gentlemen take over for me. Pete.
Great hosting. Great hosting.
Do you want me to keep going? I'll keep going.
Well, I thought, yeah. Do you want to introduce what we're talking about, and then I can talk about what we're
Did
going to
I
bring
not
up
say that?
in terms of
Okay.
games.
I want the audience also to know that I am sober and hyper, which means my brain can contain about 2 words at one time. I actually thought I already said what the show was about, but apparently I did not. So, yes, over the weekend we watched, we streamed, and hopefully you caught us doing that, which sounds like we were doing something bad, but we streamed the Summer Games Fest, hosted by one Mr. Jeff Kiley.
I mean, that's bad enough in its own right, but we'll talk about that.
And his very cute ears. Then also...
Don't forget his winner's smile.
And his winter smile, that's right.
I'm not talking about what we made
And
do on the
his
actual
and his
stream.
boyish charm.
And then also I'm gonna get very easily distracted and derailed. Xbox Showcase, Xbox Bethesda, which is like, you know, look, I don't hide it. That's my thing. So I'll have plenty to say about that. And you might actually be surprised what I have to say about that. But I am an unapologetic fangirl.
Yes.
So yeah, Pete and Ciaran.
Go.
Let's do a very quick review of the Summer's Game Fest. Your thoughts and feels on the Summer's Game Fest.
Okay, I mean, we can, for those obviously that haven't watched the stream, I would recommend to go and watch it as up on the YouTube channel. It will be linked. But yeah, there were a few games announced and a few things shown off. We had a shield by The Rock, which was hilarious. It became meme-worthy afterwards, which, yeah, I'll take it. It was terrible, but hey. So we can go through a couple of the things that were there that sort of took our fancy. And I'm going to go to Ciaran first on this because I already know pretty much what he wants to talk about. So go ahead.
Thanks, Pete. So, Summer Games Fest was, all in all, for me personally, alright. I thought it was okay. It wasn't bad. I mean, I think what helped that was the fact that Jeff did say, look, don't expect like any outstanding, like crazy announcements or reveals. Kind of just like expect stuff from games that are already announced. I think it was, he said. But even after saying that, I feel there's a lot of things that I didn't expect to show up. Nothing like.
One thing.
Sorry, let me just interject quickly, Ciaran. He did say that after the fact he'd already sold tickets in IMAX theatres for the show itself and was hyping the show up itself beforehand just to sell tickets. But carry on, yeah, just for balance.
But I mean, Pete, that's because like if you're gonna see The Rock, you're gonna need to see him in the highest quality you can.
And the 40
And
stories tall.
Look at that definition.
Yeah. Like, no, not just in the
that's
quality, but on the man himself.
Well, I was gonna say that is a multi-tiered joke.
Zooey mama.
Layers.
Oh yeah.
Of
But
fear.
yeah, I think a lot of announcements are interesting. I mentioned in the last week's episode of this podcast that I was looking forward to seeing the gameplay demo for the Cluster Protocol, which realistically, yeah, I liked seeing it. It impressed me, but it didn't blow me away because it's what I expect it to be, you know. It's basically next gen Dead Space.
It is
Dead Space successor we've wanted and needed, and I do really hope it does well. I do hope it
Oh
really
yeah.
justify sequel or whatever.
I do as well. Like, I really liked the look of the gameplay demo. Actually, like, looked really interesting. The brutal deaths were quite a thing a thing to see.
But again, that was kind of harking back to the good old days of Dead Space, where like you would get brutalized, and there was like so many different death animations depending on like what you get killed by and where you get killed from, like direction wise. There was a lot of stuff there.
I think they did mention that there was going to be quite a few of them in the game, didn't they?
Oh yeah, there will be. Because I think the one they showed off at the end was like an environmental kill where you end up getting like chucked into like some kind of
and
fan.
Half your face is like just there.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
cool as hell, to be fair.
Top of that, what else? See, you know, it's that way. I can't even remember a lot from it. You know.
Okay, so I'll go for a couple of choice things that were here, and we can sort of discuss them as we go. So obviously, Street Fighter 6, Guile was revealed. We already knew he was coming, but good to see his new model and his gameplay in action. Very cool. I mean, it's first in the show. I was pretty much spent already at the first point, so I was good. We then had Alien Dark Descent, which Kiley said that looked very metallic.
Yes, it was like a metallic xenomorph.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and that was surprising because you know what I thought it was at first. I thought it was like Aliens Fireteam Elite 2, but then a reason was there said it can't be.
I know it's Isolation.
Fireteam Elite. It could have been, but no. I think it was because more aliens. If there was one singular alien, that would be
I guess that makes sense.
They showed really early on that.
It was a very weird trailer because it's sort of played off sort of like a first-person shooter,
Mhm.
but then was revealed after the fact it was a real-time strategy game.
Yeah, they did that a couple of times.
Very
Weird
Yeah.
kind of bait and
unusual.
switch type things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
They did that on
next
the.
up, sorry, Karen.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say next was Callisto Protocol, which we've already spoken about. Then Modern Warfare 2, like gameplay showcase, which went on
I
for
like
too long
the
in my opinion.
I like seeing Scott McTavish, Soap McTavish.
Yes.
Yeah, I like seeing Soap McTavish because I'm a Scotsman. You know, Soap
Oh, of
McTavish
course.
was a good guy back in the day, and it was good to see him back.
Um, the
Yeah,
water
but I
effects
think they're
were
just.
the water effects were impressive.
Mhm.
But I don't think that's enough to sell the game for anything more than what it is, which sounds terrible. And I am not demeaning anyone who only plays video games for Modern Warfare. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that at all. But I don't think water effects are gonna draw in people who don't play the game.
Yeah,
think,
I don't think so.
See, what I will say about Call of Duty is, as much as I've personally I've not bought a COD in years. You know, I've played Warzone obviously because that's free, but like, I've not actually played
yeah.
it. I've not bought and like played for any length of time a mainline Call of Duty game. But I always did enjoy the campaigns back in the day. But that being said, as much as this was really cool, it's cool to see all the old kind of task force 1 for 1 from Modern Warfare back together. I don't think they can ever beat the quality of the storytelling in the old Modern Warfare franchise.
No,
That
definitely not.
and even I still think Advanced Warfare was great. You know, even though now it's kind of tainted by Kevin Spacey's presence.
Oh god.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I still think
Okay.
since then, yeah, I don't know.
All right.
So that was again. I think as Kelly said, there's nothing enticing me in.
Nope, and that's why I want to move on quickly because it was nothing for me. So, next we had Flashback 2. I mean,
Which
30 years after the original came out, like they're doing a sequel, which was a bit crazy.
I was just happy I recognized what game it was.
Yeah, I mean, you called it. It was pretty
Score
cool.
one for me. Yeah.
Nice. Next we had Witchfire, which was a roguelite shooter.
Yes.
That
Yes.
one
I
looked
This
remember
is
very cool.
interesting. This
Yeah,
looked very
yeah.
interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah. One of the more unique ones. I actually
Yeah.
think it looks really good. But yeah.
The only problem for me it was roguelite, but I might endure just because it looked pretty cool.
It looked very
Yeah.
cool. It
Yeah.
did. But I think
Okay.
it's been in development like 10 years, did they say?
That's another game. That's
Oh.
another game. So next we had Fort Solace, which was the Dead Space-esque thriller that had Troy Baker and Roger Clark
Right.
doing voice acting for.
Yeah. I think as much as like the cast sounds great and it sounds like a really narrative heavy thing, which I always love good storytelling. We didn't really see anything on it.
No.
Still have the trailer piqued my
Glad you said
interest because I believe there's a part in the trailer you actually see some kind of monster thing and I'm like,
Yeah.
what was that? But it was like a
Yeah.
split second.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got my interest at least, but till then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Narratively, they've definitely caught my interest, but I haven't seen any of the game.
Yeah.
So, Kylie, do you have anything to say about that?
Just I will probably play it for Roger Clark, but not until I see more because it's generally it's just like
Fair enough.
yeah.
Next was the game that you said, the decade was announced a decade ago. Routine.
That's the one I want to play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the horror one.
Keeping it space theme.
I was gonna say it's another
I
space.
can't remember much about
Another
it.
space
Yeah,
horror.
I was gonna say
But
I think we addressed the fact that like
Everything was space horror.
that Summer
Yeah.
Games Fest show, if anyone didn't see it, there was a lot of horror and a lot of that
Space.
horror was in space.
Yeah, it was a lot of horror space.
Yeah, a lot of horror. Who knows? Maybe horror space is yet to be announced at a later date. Who
There
knows?
you go.
Well, there you go. I'm
would be exciting.
trademarking that. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean that being said, I think a lot of them. I say a lot. I think most of them actually look really good. As much as there was a running theme,
Right.
it's not as if like they look bad or anything. Like Routine looked really really cool and it did
Yes.
Yeah,
disturb me a little,
it
especially with the
did,
end.
but
Yeah.
it started to wear thin towards the end of the show when you'd seen like 4 or 5 of them. It's like, okay.
I feel it's the same as like last year when we got all the. I think it was last year, 2 years ago, when we got all the
Zombie
announcements of
shooters.
the co-op the co-op horde
Yep.
shooters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
so yeah,
Far Team
so
Elite
many of
and Back for Blood, and
good
there was the
God, yeah.
Anacusis as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and
There's
then
all
we had
the-
like, I think there was like Vermintide 2 stuff that was added as well, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh God.
Dark Tide, which also got, I believe, Dark Tide
We'll
was
talk about that in a bit.
yeah.
So yeah, next we had Outriders World Slayer.
that was more of an advertisement, I feel.
I was gonna say.
It's out soon anyway. So.
Because I believe that was the same trailer that, it's maybe with some edits, but World Slayer obviously gets shown off a short while back. I'm really looking forward to World Slayer. I reckon I will pick it up at the end of the month to play it, because Outriders, folks, right? I reviewed it for Rapid Reviews UK, and I stand by my review that it is easily one of the best third-person shooters to come out in years.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Glowing endorsement. Go and play the new one when it comes out then.
I know I will be.
I'll give it a go.
Hey, it's on Game Pass.
Exactly, that's why I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna pay money. Apart from my subscription. Next was Fall Guys Free for All trailer.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Fall Guys for all platforms, you know.
See, you always see. I think the argument's starting to fade, but I think there was old argument of like when a game goes free to play, that's a bad sign.
Nope.
And
Definitely not.
to be fair, I think Fall Guys playbase has been dwindling slightly, but I like the fact that that it's going free to play at the same time it's coming to Switch and Xbox, and it will be cross-play between all systems at the same time. So
it's a great move.
That's really good.
Because it will increase their player base for by a massive amount for a short while, even that.
Yeah.
And then they might retain a lot of those anyway.
Plus,
so
in the grand scheme of things as well, like I think crossplay is really needed, especially with the kind of the party game functionality it has, you know. Because I think before we had an issue where we tried to play it, but
yeah, this is what we were
you own
saying
it
on
in
the stream.
PlayStation. You play it in PlayStation. Me and Kyle had it in Steam, so
Yeah, and so did
couldn't
Chloe
really
as
get a
well,
big-
and you and Jonathan did. I think Jonathan and Chloe ended up joining you two for it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
It was fun, but we want everyone to join in. So
we
now
can get
we can.
big custom lobbies.
With
Yeah,
21st.
Oh yeah.
exactly.
All right, next up we had Stormgate, which was a free-to-play real-time strategy game. This is from Frost Giant. I think they worked on.
Warhammer,
It was like
right?
It was, I believe, it was developers that used to work in StarCraft, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So that alone gives me hype. As much as the trailer, I felt seemed very
As bait
raw.
and switch.
It was CGI trailer anyway.
It was
So.
bait and switch again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even then, like, I think the quality could have been better in the trailer. But
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
obviously they rushed it out. But that being said, the fact that who's making it is really piqued my interest, because they made one of the best RTSs of all time, and one that still gets played heavily today, which is incredible. So
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see. It's coming out. I think there's a beta due in 2023, so worth a look for that. So next up we had High Water, post-apocalyptic adventure strategy game. Don't remember much of this one, to be honest.
it was the one that was talking about how like all the billionaires and the rich people went to Mars and left all the common folk behind.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
So
But yeah, next up, American Arcadia indie game. Looked like the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Interesting concept. Don't know if it's my cup of tea, but a really interesting concept.
I mean, I like the Truman Show, so I might have a look. If it's on Game Pass, then I'll definitely play it. But hey, not sure about it. Right, Kylie.
Yes?
Go Simulator 3.
Oh, yes. Yes, I will clip that clip of this live show, the reaction, because holy crap, it's so cringy, but also it's true. I like everyone else, thought it was going to be Dead Island, and until I saw a coffee stain come up there, and then they zoomed in on the guy's face, and I was like, that looks like, and then it turned out to be Goat Simulator, which is 3, by the way. So
I didn't get why it was free, but it's part of the joke, I guess.
Quirky and random, like me.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's
random.
what I thought of it anyway. So.
But yeah, no, I got very excited, and then like when all four. Now, I mean, no one's gonna play it with me ever. I'll probably be the only person on the server, but the fact that it's going co-op is like, Maybe I
I
can
mean,
get four
I mean-
different consoles. And...
I mean, if it's on Game Pass, then I might.
You might-
I probably will.
I mean, I would love for y'all to, but it's not a normal game.
Nope, I'm not paying money for it. If it's on Game Pass, I'll play it.
Yeah, it is on Game Pass.
That's what I mean. If the third one is, if Goat Sim 3
I've
is,
got-
then I will.
I've got every single one. I've got all the DLCs
I mean-
and everything.
Well, I'm saying if Goat Sim 3 is, then I'll play a co-op with you.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete, you're saying that as if like we're not heading towards an inevitable Game Pass conglomerate. Games.
Ah,
I mean, we
everything.
are.
Yeah,
Yes.
everything will be in Game Pass eventually.
Yeah.
Yes, eventually.
May not
Right,
stay there,
next up.
I'll be on it.
Okay, well, next up, Kieran, you've got a moment to talk about Midnight Suns.
Oh yes, thank you, Pete. Right. Midnight Suns is currently my most anticipated game of the year. I cannot wait for Midnight Suns. Because the weird thing was, right, I remember it, I remembered it. It was always in the back of my mind that it was coming out because I love
Mhm.
Firaxis, I believe the first PC game I ever played way back when I got a really crappy gaming laptop in like 2014 or something. Was Civilization 5 with my friends, and Civ 5, one of the greatest turn-based strategy games of all time. And then I also, in a sale on Steam, got XCOM Enemy Unknown, one of the most interesting and exciting kind of turn-based strategy games of all time. And because of that, after completing that game, it was announced that XCOM 2 is a thing, which is now why I'm a PC gamer today, because that's when I decided, look, I will not be able to run XCOM 2 in my laptop, I need to get a
Yep.
computer. And I did, and XCOM 2, I believe, is one of my most played games of all time. And this is basically Marvel XCOM, as in Marvel's Midnight Suns. And I think the delay, because of course this game's meant to be more or less out, I'm pretty sure,
Mhm.
if I remember
I
right.
thought it was supposed to be out soonish, or
Yeah, it's
supposed
like
to be out, but yeah, it got delayed.
they gave it a short delay, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a bummer because I really want to play it. But the trailer we got was good because,
Yeah.
gosh dang, they know how to use a cheat code. The big Marvel cheat code, of course, being Spider-Man. I think
Of course.
whenever Marvel want you excited for a project, they say, oh, and here's a little extra, little cameo or something, and it's
Yeah.
everyone's favorite friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and one of the greatest and coolest comic villains of all time, Venom,
Yeah.
who's
Yep,
also in
of
the
course,
trailer.
but there's only one problem with that logic, Kieran, and I'll bring up the Avengers problem.
To be fair, I like seeing Spider-Man come to Marvel's Avengers and Square Enix. No, was it Square Enix?
Yep.
Yeah, it was Square
Crystal
Enix. Yeah.
Dynamics.
Square Enix is Marvel's Avengers game. I really like it.
I
I
know.
do think they need more story content. And missions could be a bit better. But with the Spider-Man announcement, I was like, oh, I really wish I was on PlayStation so I could play Spider-Man. It works. The point is, Spider-Man is a cheat code for so many Marvel games.
Yeah, it is, but I just wanted to say that it's not always a hit.
Oh yeah, it's not successful. Fair enough. Yeah,
No.
it's not successful.
Okay, right.
But
Look, we've got to move on because we're going quite long on this. So I need just going to rapid fire a couple of these, and then there's a few other big ones that we'll talk about. So, Cuphead DLC, Delicious Last Course, 30th of June, looked pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
look good, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Neon White coming to PC and Switch. It's a shooter on 16th of June, so next week. Looks okay.
That card-based one.
Can't remember. The visuals look kind of cool, but that's about as much as I remember from it. Midnight Fight Express was basically 3D Hotline Miami. It's coming out on 23rd of August. Looked actually pretty cool as well.
By the single father as well, I believe, has created it. That's really impressive.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I did like that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. There's a demo out on Steam at the moment, so you can go and play
need to
that.
try that,
Give
yeah.
that a try. Sorry, Brent, but Warframe, not going to talk
Oh.
too much about it. They showed off the Deviri Paradox, which we know nothing about Warframe, but we need to fire through this. But I know he was quite excited to see that when he joined us on the live stream. So next we had more stuff with Genshin Impact, and then they announced a new Honkai game, which was called Star Rail. I don't know much about the series, so can't comment on it. Then announced Zenless Zone Zero, which is a new game set in that universe, but also, once again, don't know much about the universe, but it looked okay. It looked very sort of typical for Genshin. So, okay, right. I get my chance to talk about something.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and the fact that the leak was correct. It's coming out on 16th of June, so it's in a few days' time. And I am
what
hyped
else?
as hell.
What else
It's
is coming out on?
Nope. They announced Casey Jones. They've got 6-player local and online co-op, and it's coming to Game Pass.
There's the kicker.
Now let me tell you what. Now let me tell you what I did yesterday. Now I was hoping to see if you could preload.
Oh,
You can't yet, unfortunately.
I don't imagine it'd
But
be too big of a file size, though.
Oh, I
it's
wouldn't think
not,
so.
but I'm straight on it. I've also put a message out on the public chat of Discord to see if anyone wants to join for some online stuff on either Thursday or Friday. I've also bought a copy for the Switch.
Of course you did. Of course you did. That's the
I
most
bought a
Pete
physical
thing
copy
ever.
for the Switch, and it comes at the end of July. So
Oh, yes. Okay.
cool.
Okay,
So
Pete.
yeah, I'm happy.
So you're very confident in this game, Pete.
Well, I mean, it's published by .mu, and they were a resounding success with Streets of Rage 4. So I have no reason to doubt this. It looks exactly like I imagined a sequel to Turtles in Time would be. They've made what looks like some very good advancements. I can't say I know much about the developers' tribute games, but I'm sure .mu will be assisting on a lot of it. You know, and it looks absolutely outstanding
It does.
already. So I'm sure it will be fantastic. I'm highly confident in this.
It does look pretty cool in the co-op aspect. I'll definitely be joining you for that, Pete. I think.
6 players. 6 players. Unbelievable.
Also, isn't it the original voice actors as well? I read
Mhm.
that. I read that somewhere.
It's so cool.
That's very
Anyway, let's move on. So next we had a strategy game called Humankind. Coming to consoles. I guess it's been on PC for a while.
cool.
Yes, Humankind is excellent. My friend prefers it to Civ. To be honest, I probably do prefer it to Civ.
Okay.
But yeah, Humankind's great.
Right.
If it's coming to console, even better.
Excellent. Next we had a One Piece Odyssey, which is a JRPG, and this art style looked very, very unusual. I mean, it's based on One Piece. Why didn't you just use an anime art style?
Yes.
Moving on. Next JRPG from Atlas was Soul Hackers 2.
Which one was that one?
Moving on. Look, I don't know much about RPGs, alright? And I don't know much about Soul Hackers, so
don't remember
this
that
had no
one.
impact on me.
Yeah.
This one, however, did have an impact, and I think it had an impact on Kylie as well. Metal Hellsinger.
Oh yeah, that one. I
The
didn't...
rhythm shooter with, obviously metal in the title.
You know what's interesting about this one, right? So obviously it looks quite cool. It's kind of like a very Doom 2016
It does,
kind
yeah.
of
Dune 2016 with a vibe of BPM as well.
Yeah, so a very, very high octane, really
Mhm.
fast paced, kind of quite gory looking as well. First person shooter with the kind of gimmick that it's also like a kind of rhythm game where
Yeah.
if you like line your shots and attacks up with the kind of incoming kind of things, you'll get bonus points or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like bonus damage or bonus points and stuff like that. And it obviously the music syncs with the action on screen. It was done in BPM. There've been a couple of other games since then, but this one does look very cool, and the soundtrack is excellent because it just reminds me of growing up in college.
See, there's been actually a lot of people I've seen putting up their kind of scores from the demo.
Mm.
And I think that's really good for the game. It's something me personally like. I'm thinking, oh, it looks cool. I don't know if I'll play it, but the fact that it's actually getting quite a bit of attention,
Yeah.
and like people are really like trying to grind out the demos, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
we see
definitely gonna go and download the demo after this because I forgot that it even had a demo. So
Yeah.
perfect.
There's a lot of demos.
Alright.
Cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Next up, we had Nightingale, helmed by ex-BioWare boss Aaron Flynn. Next, we had Saints Row.
Oh yeah, Boss Factory, wasn't it?
This is the Boss Factory demo where you could just go and create your character, I guess, now to see
Yeah.
the customization.
Yeah, it's a staple of the I mean, at least 3. I don't remember it for 2.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember for 3 and 4.
It's way better in
Yeah.
2. I dropped my iPad. Yeah.
Oh Christ.
It was better in 2, but 3 wasn't anything to sneeze at either. And this one, this demo is very close to 2. The everything you can enhance and everything.
Okay.
So I'm happy about it, but there's no gameplay. But
Yeah, but we've seen bits and bobs of the gameplay like
yeah,
in
we've seen quite a bit
other
of gameplay. If you
means.
ask me,
So
yeah, if you ask me, we've seen quite a bit of gameplay from Saints Row.
yeah,
and
this
what
is
you
the thing.
expect.
It's obviously the public stage, so a lot of different people are probably going to be watching this. So it has to get traction. Kylie, what the hell are you doing?
drop my iPad again.
Can you?
Just can't be still. I'm sorry.
Right, just sit still and shut. Not literally. Right. Next up, Warhammer 40k Dark Tide.
Actually looked good. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I played Vermintide 2. I own Vermintide 2 in a PC, and Vermintide 2 is great. But I don't know what it is. There's something about this. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the setting. I'd rather play as like if it's 40k, I'd play a Space Marine, which I'm more looking forward to. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which got announced like last year or at the Game Awards, I think it might have been. I'm looking forward to that because I'm playing the first one of that as well, but that's a whole different discussion.
Right. So just gonna nothing against this. Layers of Fears, which it wasn't Silent Hill, so which was strange.
Well,
but it's still probably gonna be a good horror game.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Okay.
It's being made by Blooper, so yeah. I'm getting to you,
okay.
Kyle. Just yeah. So it's made by Blooper. They were obviously rumored to be doing a Silent Hill game. I think they are still doing a Silent Hill game, but they've just got another team working on this. But yeah, Kylie, crack on. You're like, what do you want to say about this?
Because I liked Layers of Fear. Yeah, Layers of Fear, the first one. The second one's terrible and sucks balls. But I went and looked this one up just to see like what is this, because I saw so many elements of the first one and the second one, like blah, blah.
Yeah.
So what it turns out is they took both games and then reimagined it, their words, as one full game.
I see.
And updated it and stuff. I don't know.
So it's basically a pseudo remake of both games, but sort of in one combined package.
Yeah, I think it's because everybody knows the Layers of Fear 2. God, that's so grammatically wrong.
I know. Let's not get into that because look, I also don't even want to talk about this next game or the next couple of things that even happened, but we have to. So next up we had Gotham Knights. God, no interest whatsoever for me.
Like, I've been seeing this. Like, hold on. Right. I've been seeing this all over the place. People like Gotham Knights looks bad. It looks meh. I don't see too many people saying it looks good. I personally think it actually looks not bad. I'm not excited. I'm not like.
That's what I mean. Like,
I can't wait to play this. But like.
But that's my problem. I should be excited for this as a Batman fan, but I'm just not at all. It's just strange.
There's no Batman in it.
That's why I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest.
Oh, right.
We've seen what we've seen, and like so far, I'm uninspired, let's say. But there's still time to make it a bit more right. Yeah. So let's see. Next up, we had, and this was the last thing, we had a couple of stuff to do with Naughty Dog. Now, full disclosure for anyone who's a newish listener, we have had a lot of problems with Naughty Dog in the past, especially when it came up to The Last of Us 2 and the sort of stuff with that, but let's move on from that. So, they revealed that Troy Baker and... God,
I forgot her name again.
Like,
I don't know why I always forget
Ashley Johnson?
Yep, that's it.
Are making cameos, I guess, in the Last of Us TV show that's currently being filmed.
Yeah, it wasn't cameos. They said.
Oh, they're parts in the film in the series. Sorry.
Yeah, they have apparently like not
roles.
not like I don't think it's leading roles. I mean, it could be leading roles, but like they made it important to note that both of them will be in,
which I do like,
roles that aren't just a like brief cameo. Basically.
Yeah. I do like
not the same way like in the Uncharted movie where Nolan North shows up for like a minute.
Yeah.
It's like it's more than that. Apparently, they actually have like a role to play in the series.
I think
it's actually really good. Yeah. I like that.
It does make
Quite happy
sense in
for
sort of what Naughty Dog have been doing with their properties, like you said, with Uncharted and Nolan North coming in to do a bit with the movie, so it does make sense. Next, we had them showing some concept art for a Last of Us multiplayer game.
Yeah, MMO.
I know, so what they said was that this was apparently the update for factions for Last of Us Part 2 that had a little bit more scope than they ever imagined, so they've now turned it into a full game.
Yeah,
So
I saw this. I didn't realize it was as popular as it was. Apparently, like it's got a really
yeah,
strong
Factions
community
is
behind
huge.
it.
Factions was huge on the PS3. It was
Mm-hmm.
unreal. Like I couldn't believe it myself when I heard it, but yeah, a lot of people liked it. So them doing a Last of Us universe game that's an online game could be quite cool. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Having a story in it could be quite cool. But make a bold prediction on this one. Bungie might be helping with this.
Oh yes,
Oh, that makes sense if they do. Right. That makes sense. That
Maybe
would be
some live
wise.
service elements.
Yeah, that would be wise of Naughty Dog if they did enlist the
Yes.
help of Bungie.
And the weirdest, strangest thing that happened, this whole thing, which leaked 2 hours before because PlayStation couldn't shut them out and for some reason leaked it on their own because they're dumb. But also the decision by Naughty Dog themselves to do a remake for The Last of Us and actually call it The Last of Us Part 1,
Yes.
which was for a game that's only so far 9 years old and has already had a PS4 remaster that can be played on the PS5 in a decent fidelity as is already. This was, and they're charging £70 for it.
Yeah.
but the thing is, right?
What?
The scary part is that people were losing their stuff
Yeah.
over it.
They really
No.
were.
Yeah.
They
And I
absolutely
don't
were.
get it because, as you say, the game like it's it's not old by any means compared to a lot of other games.
It came out on the
could be getting
button
remastered.
generate of the PS3 generation.
Yeah.
It was supposed to push the visual fidelities of that console. I know it was hard to develop for, and I know porting games from there was particularly hard, like to the PS4. But they managed to make it work. But this is just ridiculously pointless.
Yeah, because realistically, there's going to be a lot of people that have already played the game.
Mm-hmm.
That are like, yes, I can't wait to play it in better graphics. But I mean, fair enough. But if you want to replay a game, you're still going to get the same experience by playing the
Right.
game you
Yeah.
already own.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like fair enough, the graphics will be cool, but realistically, you're wasting money if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did at least show a comparison between the graphic styles between the PS3, PS4, and PS5, and it is a bit of a difference. But I've heard a lot of people saying it. I said a bit, not a lot. I have seen a lot of people turning around and saying they prefer the art style from the original version, and I have to agree.
Yeah.
It's more unique.
It just makes no sense. Like if it was a game that came out like pre-2000s, early 2000s,
Right.
getting a big graphic overhaul, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could understand it, but I mean, they are apparently adding new elements, which makes me particularly worry about them retconning particular stuff.
Maybe. Who knows? At this point, honestly, I don't really care for it. I just think Sony and or Naughty Dog are just milking it
Yeah.
at this point. I don't see
Okay.
why they've put team members onto this when they probably could have brought the timeline for the multiplayer thing further.
They could have very easily done
Had
that, but
everyone working
hey,
on that instead.
I mean,
And that'd be a completely different experience in the Last of Us universe as
unless
well.
of course the Uncharted team are not working on an Uncharted game and they're working on that instead.
That's what some people think.
Yeah, but we'll see on that. So yeah, that was the Game Awards, and for some reason we've spoken about that for more than half an hour, which was probably 25 minutes more than I wanted to speak about it.
Yes.
To be fair, it was a 2 hour long show.
That's
somehow.
true.
Oh, an
Somehow
hour and
that-
I
55
know!
minutes.
I
Hour and
couldn't-
55.
I couldn't believe it.
It
I guess
was long
it's
and
interesting.
very boring.
And I think this is a big contrast as well with the fact with what we're going to move on to just now being the Xbox Bethesda showcase is why did Jeff feel the need to have advertisements in the show? Obviously, it was stuff for games. It wasn't just like random.
There
Right.
was less than
Right.
normal, to be fair.
Yeah, and it was like, as well, folks. Dwayne the Rock Johnson did appear. You may have seen this. It was literally for him to promote the upcoming DC film Black Adam. And
Which
after
we
that,
got
we
a
just got
copyright strike for. Thanks, Warner Brothers.
yeah, and then after that, there was like a couple of trailers like we'd already kind of seen before. That was basically just kind of again. I just felt I was watching like something like my television.
Yeah.
And there was a little ad break before we get
Yep.
back to the main show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, when you go onto the Xbox showcase, was nothing but games.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's move on into the Xbox showcase. So this happened on Sunday, as of recording a couple of yesterday, on the
Yeah.
12th of June. So I made notes. So I was obviously busy when this was all live streaming, so I had to stay off Twitter until it was done.
Oh,
I did get
right.
spoiled about one thing, trying to find the actual showcase on YouTube after the fact. So I'll be honest here, I managed to watch obviously the full upload
Right.
in the best quality possible at 4K because I could, and 60 FPS. So I'm not going to let that skew anything of what might occur during some discussions. And I think you might think what I'm going to talk about on that one. But that may come a lot later.
Yeah, I think I already know.
So, like I said, I made notes. I noted down the running order of everything.
I am
I
glad
also
about
have it on my
I did the
phone
job
later,
of Eurogamer.
that. Great.
So, I'm going to get my gripes out of the way first, just quickly.
Okay.
I did not need to see world premiere, console exclusive, day one on Game Pass, before and after every single trailer, except for one, because it wasn't an Xbox game.
Well, you see, I agree with you to the point where it should have been there if they kept the voiceover when the guy says world premiere.
No, because I hated that even more.
Aw.
No,
I
So
love
I'm glad that was
that.
gone. But like,
can I
the
tell you
thing was, no, the thing was, for me, it was more about they had already said it. They'd already said these are what are coming out into the next 12 months. They're coming to Game Pass. You know, we know the advertising spiel for them. I know it's trying to capture a wider audience who may not know, but it was still incredibly frustrating. If you totaled up the fact that they had over 30 games there at least, and they took up, say, 10 seconds on either side of the trailer, you could have cut a few minutes. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It would have been snap, 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 snap. It would have been very more snappy, and it just wore on me eventually. I was like, okay, after the first couple of signs, I get the point here.
Yeah.
I bet that.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
I
see
bet-
your point.
That was all.
I bet they
I do miss
that.
the voiceover man though.
Yeah.
Tell me that's
I do not. Kylie, what was you going to say?
I bet they do that because they cut them up into individual trailers.
Oh, of course they do. It's sort of like a placeholder bit that they can do
Yeah.
to sort of differentiate them. But they could have had more sections where they were just I don't know. I'm glad they had a lot less people sort of there
Me
talking about
too.
Xbox as well. So I'm glad that we had Pete Hines and Phil Spencer and
Todd.
Sarah Bond, which was cool. But they were few and far between, and obviously Big Todd. But you know, you know that we've had a lot worse before, like a lot longer as well, and it was much more snappy, and I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie on this one. Phil Spencer looked so stoned.
What?
If you look at the stream when he's talking, he looks wasted.
No, look, Pete. That's his face all the time.
I said it's in 4K. I saw it in 4K. I saw it in 4K. He's been down in California. He's been down in California a bit too long.
Goodness.
Anyway, let's move on to the games because they started out quite big. Let's say.
I was.
Oh yeah, I think to sum up what the really interesting part about this show is from the get go, they made a point to say that every game shown during the showcase will be out effectively before June next year.
Well, that's subject to change. They kept specifying the subject to change, but that's kind of obvious.
Things can still get delayed, but
yes.
the fact that like the vast majority of all these games, at least at this point in time, like I said, majority, apparently that all of these games shown are on track for a 12-month release window.
Yeah,
That's
which
impressive.
I really appreciate that, because that's how it used to be at E3, if you remember back in the day,
Yeah.
Kylie, like where they were like, right, this is the slate of what's coming in the next 12 months, and it was banging.
I think as well, it really fights back against the kind of criticism I think Xbox were getting for the past couple of years, where they'd announced that they've got all these studios now. They've got a bunch of games in the works, but nobody knew when we're going to see the fruits of all this labour.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they've came out this year and said, right, everything today, you will be able to play it by summer next year. With some things subject to change, obviously, because we never know. You never know if like sort of that a big thing may happen, or
Yeah, because it's usually a case in big showcases that you'll get that one game that's like a little bit further off. Like if you remember the PS5 reveal where the Capcom revealed Pragmata, we've seen absolutely nothing about that game ever since.
Yeah.
I mean, that name means nothing to me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was another one of those.
Well, me and Kylie remember.
Yeah, dumb name ones that I.
Yeah, there was a couple of those, because you remember Returnal was in that as well, and we thought that was stupid, and look at how that turned out.
Which is not a reflection of the game, yeah, as Pete just said.
That's what I
just
mean.
hate those made-up words. And
yeah.
Forsaken or something, there's like
Forspoken.
Forspoken.
Oh.
Just like,
right, let's move on. But anyways, because first up, so they were punching big, like Ciaran said. Everything's coming out in the next 12 months, subject to change. So this was Arcane's Redfall, which we know got delayed recently. So you're going to see that they bookended their show with two games that just recently got delayed, which we both said were obviously going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I can now seeing all this gameplay, I can understand why it got delayed.
You know what's annoying, right? So I think we mentioned earlier how last year we kind of got fatigue from these kind of co-op, kind of PvE shooter games.
Yep.
And Redfall is that. Redfall is another kind of co-op, 4-player co-op, kind of quad, kind of PvE shooter type thing.
Yeah, very Left 4 Dead. But,
yeah, Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Bloodish. Yeah, but I think it's kind of different. My problem with it is it's not different enough. You have the developers of Prey, Dishonored, and Deathloop working on this, and I'm seeing none of the creative gameplay and the charming gameplay that those games have. I'm talking mainly from the perspective of every Arcane game, like every those three anyway that I've mentioned. They've got unique kind of gameplay mechanic to them where you're not just running around with a sword and a pistol, you're not just running around with guns and stuff. You have extra layers of gameplay, like different pillars and stuff you can go down. And fair enough, by the looks of it, there's like some kind of like, for each different character there is a kind of progression system with abilities and stuff. But I don't know, I miss that kind of supernaturally kind of superpowered element of Arcane games from this, because watching the gameplay is just like another standard first-person shooter co-op thing.
Yeah.
I know one of the characters apparently has like powers, but that's just one of 4 characters.
Yeah, well, they all have their own unique abilities, obviously, and I think that's the first one that's been kind of revealed.
Yeah, but again, it's that way though. Like compared to your bog standard kind of thing, considering the concept for this game, which is like kind of vampires and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I just really wish there's a greater emphasis on supernatural stuff in it, whereas a lot of the characters are just bog standards. Like you've got a sniper who can go invisible and stuff. Invisibility is nothing special. You've got a tech guy who can throw down traps. Again, nothing exciting. But then again, you've got that one character who can use kind of arcane-ish abilities, which is cool, because that adds a unique element to that character and ways to play that character. But again, the lanes just feel so vanilla. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And again, with Arcane's pedigree, like I don't know, I'm a bit disappointed by it.
Look, I do agree, but I haven't played Dishonored and Prey, so I can't judge it on that fact.
Okay.
So I'm basing this solely on whether or not I want to play it, and based on other co-op PvE shooters that I've played, like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood. No, this is a no for me, but the fact it's on Game Pass probably makes
Yeah.
it a yes. So
I'll give it a bash.
I'll give it a bash. That's about it. Not expecting much from it, but I do prefer the fact that it's vampires rather than zombies, because zombies are tired now, and I'm kind of bored of that sort of setting. So something a bit different will be nice, but still vampires are played out. So I'll move on.
Yep.
Unless Kylie's got anything major she wants to add.
No, I just I thought it was very interesting that they led with this one right off the gate.
I'm not surprised.
Well, now that I know the lineup, after watching it, I realized why they did it. But at first, it was like, it's a weird one to lead off with.
Because it's like one of those ones. It's like one of their big hitters now, obviously, because it's on Bethesda and Xbox.
Yeah.
So.
But
Right. So the next game was actually a bit of a surprise that it turned up here of all places.
Yep.
Because a lot of people have been speculating this is going to make its way to a Switch Direct, and that wasn't the case.
Maybe it will be, but I'll get to that.
So I know nothing of the first game, and I'm being particularly vague for a reason so far. But as soon as I saw those first few strands on the screen, I knew exactly what this was. It was Hollow Knight Silksong.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which has been absent for quite a long time since it was announced, and like I said, everyone sort of expected it to be on a Direct. But no, it made its way here, and obviously Microsoft had dropped a big bag because it's coming to Game Pass, which was a bit of a surprise. On day one, of course. No release date.
Yeah, I think that was the funny thing, because one of my favourite streamers, he loves the first Hollow Knight. So he's been waiting for this one, like many other Hollow Knight. They've been waiting for Silksong for ages since it's been announced. And I think it was so funny. Just seeing the reactions, like, I think I saw it as a tweet I saw. Someone said, did we literally just get a Silksong trailer without a release date this late?
every time, like, it's every single trailer so far has just had none. It's been hilarious, but like, obvious, like, what people seem to forget is that they're an incredibly small team. I think there's 4 or 5 people.
Really?
That's what I mean by incredibly small.
That's wild.
So this looks incredibly ambitious for that small of a team. So
the trailer, though, from the gameplay, for a team of 5 people, like, it's really good.
That's what I mean. It looks fantastic, but I'm not judging them solely on that. It's just the fact that fans have been waiting a long time for this, and it just, geez, no release date again was a bit of a slap in the face to those fans. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of the first game, but I didn't play it, so I can't call myself a fan.
Well,
but this does make me interested as all hell, because I really hope that in the deal for this, they're gonna put the first game on Game Pass. I really hope that they do that.
Would think they are.
Well, see, on you go, Kiley.
I just wanted to say hello to Les. He joining us. He made it on time. They made it on time. They did.
Yep. So, just for full clarification here, if you have any questions or comments, we will cover them at the end from the live audience.
Oh.
But first and foremost, we are a podcast, so we will cover the information as such. So, right, Kylie, I'm going to move to you next on this one, because this looks like a you game, and it might be for a reason, because this very much involves the creator of Rick and Morty.
Oh,
very kind of obvious.
Put it this
way. So this was
Squanch
Games' High on Life. It's a first-person shooter, which, obviously it's set in a sci-fi universe, and all I could hear was Morty the whole time.
I was about to say,
Justin Rowland.
It was this and the last game. Whenever I saw anything from it and the voice acting, I just thought it was like something from like Rick and Morty's Interdimensional Cable.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, right, is that I actually wrote down on my notes as soon as I saw it. I went Rick and Morty. And I had to cross it out when I saw that it wasn't called anything to do with Rick and Morty. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, because it all just sounds like Rick and Morty, and it's as dumb as Rick and Morty. That's the thing. Because I believe the concept for this shooter, for reference, is that the guns you use, and I believe there's a knife called Knifey.
Yeah.
They are all living alien creatures.
Yep.
That talk to you.
They are. Yeah. So the bullets are like, I think one of the guns, the bullet was its
babies.
children.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, only the people who made Rick and Morty could make this kind of game.
Yeah. So I believe all the guns you will have access to are completely voice acted and stuff, as well as your knife called Knifey, who sounds like a psychopath.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Like, go on.
well, like yeah, like within 2 seconds I knew it was Justin Rowling game. Like you can tell that art style and voice. But what I think is funny, just for me personally, is it's so reminiscent of there's this one gun. Well, there's a gun in Borderlands 2 and also in the DLC of Fallout New Vegas, I believe. Might be Fallout 3, but I think it's not Fallout New Vegas. Anyway, and it talks to you and it's very sarcastic and sometimes it'll go pew 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 when you like shoot and stuff. I always have loved that trope. Like I don't know, it cracks me up. So even though kind of Justin Roiland's kind of maybe overstayed his creative welcome at this point, maybe as a voiceover actor, maybe he needs to stay behind the scenes for just a little while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm still intrigued by the guns, just because it's reminiscent of my very enjoyable time of talking guns.
Of course. Okay. Next was, I'm going to call this a Megaton announcement, actually, because I don't think people realise the impact of this. Ciaran, I want you specifically to talk about one of the games in this package, is the fact that a lot of Riot games are coming to Game Pass as of October.
Yeah, I thought of Ciaran when I saw that.
They're not on console, so bear that in mind. So you got League of Legends and League of Legends Wild Rift coming to PC and mobile. Well, League of Legends for PC, Wild Rift mobile. I'm skipping one for a reason because I'll let you talk about that more. So Teamfight Tactics is coming to PC and mobile, and then Valorant's coming to PC with all agents unlocked. All champions are unlocked for basically everything. Legends of Runeterra.
That's
Ciaran,
the one.
it's coming to PC and mobile. How do you feel?
See, Pete, I'll say it to you right now. The Riot Games partnership with Game Pass is probably my favourite announcement from the entire thing, and I think that is huge. Generally speaking, just in the scope of it, it is incredible they've actually like got a partnership with Riot. I think that's incredible, especially for what it can mean for the future between them and Xbox, considering the League of Legends MMO is in development and could be very successful.
Plus, they've got a League of Legends fighting game as well.
Yes, exactly.
Which makes me quite happy then.
But what was weird? But so it came up, and when I saw it was Riot, I was like, "You're kidding me! What is happening here?" Because of course, all these games are free. All of these games you can go on PC and your and for the ones that are on your mobile, you can just get them for free. All of them.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I thought. I was just like, hang on, why is this even an announcement?
Yeah, so I was like, what could they be doing? The fact that you are getting every single champion in League of Legends through Game Pass, every single agent in Valorant through Game Pass, and
all the foundation sets in Legends of Runeterra.
That is some deal. That is crazy. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, so obviously, I've only just started playing League of Legends. I don't play it too much. I play it now and then, but like, there are so many champions for one, and there's a lot of champions in that game.
Oh yes.
That are really costly to unlock.
Oh yeah.
Like, it requires you to play quite a lot to actually get the currency to get them, unless you want to spend real money.
Yep.
So immediately from that is really lifting a big barrier to entry for these things, where a new player can go in and immediately have access to all the meta champions of that time in the game. For example,
yeah,
you can go in, you can easily look up, right, what are the best characters out just now, and you don't need to worry about not being able to get them or have them, because you will have them.
It definitely helps for sure.
And that could easily support player retention by because it allows players to experiment with every character and find one they've really enjoyed playing, which gives them a higher likelihood of continuing to play the game, because they don't need to sit and grind out to get a character they really want to play and be deterred by having to grind it out. Same with Valorant. There's not as many agents in Valorant because Valorant is relatively in its infancy.
It's new. It's a lot newer of a newer game, isn't it? So
Yeah. But getting every agent in Valorant again for a new player, great.
huge.
Especially when like Valorant is a very toxic game. Right? There's no secret to that. So being able to have every character and to be able to having that advantage just allows teams to have far better rosters. For example, to better team compositions from the get go because all characters are there for you.
Yeah.
I mean, for me and my buddy who play Valorant, we've got most of the agents anyway, so it's not a big thing for us. But again, I'm thinking like in the general scale here. This introduces a lot of people to Riot's games and gives them the tools they need to try and incentivize players to stay playing them.
Yeah.
And Legends of Runeterra, fair enough. I actually don't think I've got all the Foundation cards, so that is actually quite good for me. I don't know if I'll use them all, but
But at least they're
that's
there.
good. The one thing though that my buddy mentioned was, of course, Epic Games partnered with Riot to allow you to play League of Legends stuff through Epic
Right.
on PC. I didn't realize this. Apparently, though, at least I mean, I may be changing now, but he was saying like when he went to try it, you couldn't link your Riot and Epic Games account to transfer stuff over.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know if the reason this, because I believe this starts to come into effect in winter. It said.
October.
Oh, is it? There you go then. So I assume that's hopefully because they're going to try and set up some account link in the same way Fortnite
I guess
can
so.
carry over between systems.
Mm.
Because again, you're then basically forcing people to play it on Game Pass. And yeah, I suppose though, I suppose it makes sense if you can't link it because what if you cancel Game Pass? Man,
Oh
I
yeah,
get,
that's a good
you
point.
know what I mean? You're knocking all this.
There'll be something in play. You know that there
But
will
again,
be. That if you
yeah, but I think my point is that's why it's not out right now because I think they're maybe trying to work out how they're going to work for that.
right,
But yeah, I think one of if not the biggest announcement of the showcase, and my personal favorite.
okay, yeah, I'm aware that we're gonna go long if we start talking about everything
Oh yeah.
like, in that kind of depth. So we do need to sort of move on a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate the passion. Always.
Oh yes.
So next up, we had a Plague Tale Requiem, End of Innocence, which
Yeah.
okay, the first game looked cool, but yeah, I just didn't get around to playing it. So this being on there, and you know, I think Plague Tale, the first game is actually on Game Pass now, isn't it?
I think it is or was.
Yeah, it definitely
Sure.
was.
Yeah, it's either one of the two. So anyway, I do want to talk about this a little bit more than anything, which is why I was just trying to move things along. Forza Motorsport.
Oh, right.
So we got a trailer.
What did you think
No.
of it, Pete?
Trailer was fine.
Okay.
I don't care about the trailer. We got the gameplay demonstration afterwards, which
Yes.
thank Christ they showed that off. My goodness.
Is this a good thing?
Okay, so we know, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know I'm not the biggest racing fan. I like Horizon because it's more arcadey. This is very much on the sim side of things, like very much like GT games for the PlayStation. They took a lot of pot shots at Sony in this particular gameplay demonstration. I don't know if you noticed.
I heard
I
him.
didn't know it's but doing lighting mix. This sounds great.
It was the constant talking about how they have ray tracing during races, not just in the menus, which is a feature from GT, which is only in the menus the ray tracing is available.
Did they actually say it like that? Did they actually say?
Pretty much, yep.
That's fun.
Oh, I was laughing. It was
That's
very British because obviously, you know, Turn 10 are British developers. So it was very much in the we know our competition. We're gonna go at them. Okay, they rolled the dice first. Now we've got the chance to one up them. But yeah, they showed the dynamic time system, which Jesus Christ, the whole, you know, playing into, you know, the fact that you can race at any time during the day and it affects track temperature, you know, the weather,
That's cool.
the environment. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Why have we not seen this kind of level of detail in games before? This is absolutely astonishing.
I think I think if you're a racing fan, like, it's incredible. You know, all the technical depth that goes into the Forza franchise.
I'm not a racing fan. This is absolutely blowing my mind, and it's making me want to play it.
Now, the thing is, Pete, though, right? So I'm not big in racing games. I played a bit of Forza 4, with my buddy when it was on Game Pass. I'm starting to play the newest Forza. I probably should.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon, that is, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see all this technical achievement, I and several others enjoyed it for another reason, you see. Because this is the exact same engine we're using to create Fable.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm fully aware.
And, oh lord, Pete.
Exactly why I'm absolutely spellbinded by what possibilities this has, and why I'm
Oh.
captivated to play it, because obviously this has massive lasting impact on games in the future for Xbox.
Because that is some engine. And
Yeah.
supposing they can use that well to create Fable, oh, good god,
I mean-
Fable's going to be gorgeous.
That's what I mean. Just look at the fact, like, the tracks themselves, obviously, with all the tire marks, like the detail in that track. You know, the fact that it changes track temperature, seeing a stream next to it, which was obviously a classic like stage. I think they said was from the very first Forza Motorsport game,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
nice little callback. It obviously shows the incredible detail that they've gone throughout the series over 8 games at this point. And, you know, like I said, the lasting impact that they have on the environment with the track temperature could obviously have huge implications for what Fable's going to be able to do. And
Oh,
the kind of flora and fauna that you're going to be able to see growing at different points of the seasons, and that is going to be stupid.
The only
I mean,
downside-
stupid in a good way, man. It's
Yeah.
just
The only
ridiculous.
downside of this discussion is the fact we didn't see Fable. So
Yeah.
it's very sad about it.
No,
although-
no, because it would have tainted it by just being there and having no date and not knowing that it's coming within the next 12 months. You know, it's just,
I guess
it would have been a bit disappointing in the fact that it wouldn't have fit with the theming, but
there's always next
mean-
year.
exactly. So, I mean, this isn't even talking about the racing itself. This is just about the engine. Like, the racing looks fun as hell.
I think it's still right. I
Like,
think
it's simulation, but looks more fun simulation than actual just
I think that's a
simulation.
criticism I have, though. I think that's a criticism I kind of have about Forza Motorsport is really, whenever I see it, I always feel like it's a tech demo rather than an actual game.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I've
I
played
know what you mean.
Forza games in the past, and you know they felt good in that. I suppose if you're a racing fan, they're probably great racing games, right? Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but whenever I see it, it's always sold as a tech demo rather than a
Mhm.
racing game, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well,
Sure.
right. Speaking of tech demos, then, because we're
Okay.
going to move on. Kylie, unless you had anything major,
No,
Dad.
nothing major at all.
you might need to move back a bit because you're not near the microphone.
No, I have nothing major to add.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So next up, in terms of tech demos, definitely not a tech demo, but Microsoft use it as this such. Microsoft Flight Simulator,
Gorgeous.
40th anniversary.
Yeah, that. Okay, that was a surprise to me. Maybe it was
So
announced, but it was a surprise to me.
No, I think it wasn't announced before.
Okay.
I'm not sure. The only thing that's confusing me about this, is it an update to Flight Simulator or is it a completely separate entity?
Well, I think it's a DLC type thing or an add-on pack because they did that
Uh,
with that
No,
movie.
there was another add-on pack that we can
Yeah.
talk about in a second.
Oh,
That's what I mean. I'm not sure if this is its own thing because this has got helicopter like flying in it. And
I
everything.
don't think it's. I think it is just an update
Right.
to the game. It's adding in a bunch of all this stuff because I believe they've done it before. Like, see, whenever they've added big updates to the map, for example, so they've like added new parts of the world, like in greater detail and stuff.
Yeah.
I believe it's always just been a big update. It's never been like
Okay.
an add-on or an expansion,
okay.
really.
Okay. Right. Speaking of updates, the dropship from Halo has been added to Flight Sim.
Not the
That's
dropship.
not a
The
dropship.
Pelican.
Look,
Oh,
take it up with Eurogamers who said that thing.
I mean, Pelican is a dropship if you want to be technical about it. But I want to know, does that mean you can just fly a Pelican around Earth? Or
Guess
are they
so.
going to have
yeah,
a
because
Halo
in
ring?
the trailer, like
I
the
would love to
Pelican
Went up into space.
Yeah,
Right, that's what, yeah.
and that's cool.
That's very cool.
I think there was an update to
That makes me wanna play
Flight
it.
Sim recently where you could do like that kind of flights, couldn't you?
They should have a Halo ring.
They
I
probably
think
do
that'd be a bit
somewhere.
much to ask from them, is it not? Considering they're already simulating Earth in its entirety.
Sure.
They're
Okay,
Microsoft,
right,
they can do it.
But yeah, I have nothing more to add on that. So cool.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2.
Oh
Eh.
yes, this is one I forgot about because this is probably my second favorite announcement from this, other than Riot Games, because for two reasons. Right, I never really played Overwatch 1 much. I was there. Right, I was there when Overwatch was still in beta, and that was the only time I ever technically owned any version of Overwatch. I never bought Overwatch when it came out. Something really great. I wish I did get Overwatch 1.
Overwatch is great. It's great.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
basic.
it
It's
looked
not.
great. Whenever
Yeah.
the only time I've really played it after the beta, like the OG beta, was during free to play weekends. And then whenever I
Right.
played it, I thought it was great. So I'm really looking
Uh,
forward to this. I'll look at it. I love the art style for one. I like the kind of team shooters, and I like, I don't know. There's something about it
I like the
that
new
Okay.
character.
gets me excited for it. I don't know why, but the big thing as well, we've got the release date.
yeah, I was getting to that.
Yeah, and of course, it's going to free to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I was. That was
Yeah.
all coming. You've preempted my
Sorry, Pete.
my point.
Sorry,
No, no,
Pete.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So October the 4th, like Ciaran said, giving the game away. Thanks, mate. It's going free to play, and they did reveal a new hero, which didn't know if they had a name yet.
Yeah. Now
I think
that
I think they have a name
I
yet.
just blanked out.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, I blanked out as well.
But she's pretty.
So
cool.
this is, yeah, but this is one of two announcements that were in this show from Activision Blizzard. That's foreshadowing for later, by the way.
Yes.
I had a point to think about this one whilst I was actually watching the showcase, and I thought about it early on with Overwatch 2. My thoughts on Overwatch 2, not interested.
All right. Okay.
I don't think the art style looks that much improved from the first game, to be honest.
Yeah. No. I wasn't saying that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
But I
happy for
just
the
like the art
Overwatch
style.
fans. Yeah, that's fine.
I think
I'm
it's
happy
unique.
for the Overwatch fans who's getting the second game. Obviously, if they manage to do the integration with the first game like they've promised to do, then great. But I have no interest for it. I played a few games of it and it wasn't my thing, so I've moved on from it. But I had this thought whilst I was watching it, not as much during Overwatch, but during the second game that's going to be talked about later. It seems Microsoft are incredibly confident that this Activision Blizzard deal is absolutely going through.
that
Is.
that went through my head. Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, it did. It went through my head. But I mean, it's like Ciaran says, it's a done deal. But I'm also thought that was a lot of confidence on their part.
Yeah,
Because it's
I
not
thought it
a
was
done deal,
possibly a bit of overconfidence, in
Yeah.
that sort of respect, but maybe not as much as I might think. But
I mean, to be fair, even if like the deal didn't go through, there's still games releasing at the end of the day.
Right.
They will still be releasing, whether Xbox owned or not.
Yo.
So they still have a place. Still had a place.
yeah, of course.
Wasn't the case.
Right. So next up, we had Aria History Untold.
Right. Yeah. So
It's a
I've got one big
historically
thought, that's it.
grand strategy game from Oxide Games. Don't know much about it.
I do not know why this exists. I was sat watching that trailer, right, for this game. So Ara has Untold, right? Coming to PC Game Passes. Turn-based
Let's
strategy.
settle in for this one.
What?
I said I'm gonna settle in for this one.
Oh.
No, look, this is not a long critique here. This is me getting to the point because there's not much to say about this because the game is already out. I'm watching this trailer and I'm thinking,
is it?
No, it's already out because I'm watching this trailer and thinking, oh, this must be the trailer for Humankind Console Edition.
Right.
But why is that world premiere then? And then they announced it's not Humankind because it's the exact same
It's
idea.
exactly yeah.
It's I mean, for as far as we know, it's going to be a civilization
That's all it is.
slash kind of Humankind style game with the gimmick of, oh, you don't play set civilization, you history is what you make of it. But that was Humankind's
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Humankind is all about building your own unique civilization by combining cultures over the eras. So I mean, don't get me wrong, there might be something different, but as far as I'm concerned,
No,
I was watching that trailer, and I thought it was Humankind.
Yep.
Genuinely.
It
I had
has the
no
same
idea.
kind of style and stuff. Like, of course, I first saw it, I thought it was Civilization. I was like, oh, are they doing like a, Civilization re-release. I don't know. And then
Re-release.
but then as the colors started fading in, I was like Humankind, and then it came up as that logo.
Our history untold.
Yeah, which I couldn't even pronounce, and I was like, wow, I don't know what that word is.
I literally watched it and by the end of it I was like, why on earth? But that's me, Pete. That's me.
Okay. One comment. No. Moving on. Next up, we had the Elder Scrolls Online latest expansion, which is called High Isle. I know you guys are obviously Elder Scrolls fans. I know not online, but
again, if I had the time and motivation to become, invested in this game, I would. Because ESO is great. I think Elder Scrolls Online is fantastic, but
it is.
I'm already too financially deep into another MMO being Destiny to give my money away to another one. So, to be fair though, I like the ESO Plus subscription. I actually think it's a really good one. In fact, they give you all the small add-ons with all the so with ESO Plus you get all the kind of smaller add-on expansions.
Yeah.
For the game, and every one of the big expansions minus the latest one, which I think is really good, and that's like £10 a month or something. So if you don't want to play the game and you don't want to buy them outright, you can easily cancel your subscription when you're done, and yeah, you're fine. So yeah, but other than that, Isle looks good. If you like ESO, good for you.
Cool.
Something more coming.
Yeah, right. Keeping with the M&O theme here for sure, but talking about the bad Bethesda one. Fallout 76.
Let's say bad. Hold on. Let's be nice. Let's be nice.
I'm joking.
No.
So
I have
Fallout 76, the stain of the MMO.
I have thoughts. Me.
Bethesda stain, if anything.
No, I just meant the stain on MMOs generally.
Okay.
No, I'll get into it.
Okay.
I just need to set you up. I need to set you up.
Okay.
Right? So Fallout's next expansion is called Expeditions: The Pit. So I'm just gonna tell you how it is on Eurogamer. It says, "Yep, that's the same place as the Pit DLC from Fallout 3."
I need to talk about that.
Continue.
I thought it was Fallout 3.
Yes, it was Fallout 3.
Kieran, let's let Kylie have her moment here.
It's not even a
like
moment.
I said for Kieran, I'm gonna settle it.
Nope, it's gonna be very, very brief because, and I promise I won't geek out over this, but the Pit, as Pete said, is a DLC from Fallout 3, which, if you know, Fallout 3 is set several hundred years after Fallout 76. In the lore, this is what's killed me about 76 since the day it dropped. In the lore, the Pit does not even exist yet. And the fact...
Well, I said I'm going to settle it.
I mean, I guess it... Oh, gosh. Okay. One line thing, and I'm done. I mean, they did have, 2 suns already from Tucson, Arizona. The name Tucson, so maybe the Pit, being that it's Pittsburgh, the Pit existed as in the name. But the actual... The Pit, as we know it, the slave-holding, scary dungeon thing, did not exist. So, it's just more Fallout 76 just pooping on all the lore for all of us lore heads. And that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you for that input. I thought the exact same thing. I knew you were going to have a rant about the lore side of things with it, so that's why I said I'm going to let you have your moment.
That annoyed me so much. I was like, what?
I envisioned it straight away. I could see you probably screaming
Pit doesn't
at your
even
TV
exist
going, what the hell is this? God damn it. Or gosh darn it, whatever you wanted to go with at the time.
Yeah, I would have said gosh darn it, because I have a very clean mouth and a very wholesome image.
No. Right, next, unfortunately, this was leaked beforehand, a few days before. This is the Hot Wheels DLC coming to Forza Horizon 5.
Oh, I got for a break during this.
I didn't care, to be honest. I'm done with Horizon 5. It's a good game, but I'm just not interested in playing it. And DLC for it being exactly the same as what it was on Horizon 3, yeah, it's uninspiring to me. Looks nice, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to another thing that looked incredibly uninspiring and very minimal, let's say, but with a massive ego. Ark 2. I'm
Oh,
talking about Vin Diesel.
oh yes,
No.
right, Pete.
Oh,
I cannot
goodness.
wait for Ark 2. I cannot wait.
Okay,
I
let
love Ark
me
1.
wait. We've seen this game twice,
Well,
and
the
both times
trailers.
we've seen absolutely nothing about it.
Except
So I ask you, good sir,
Vin Diesel's
how
nipples.
can you be excited about this?
Because Ark is exceptional and I love dinosaurs, Pete. You see, Pete,
Fine,
Survival-
good logic, good logic.
Ark Survival Evolved is probably one of my favourite survival crafting games of all time. I think it's
It's
so
good.
like
It is good.
considering it was like started out as like an early access thing in
Mhm.
PC, right?
Mhm.
For years it was on early
Mhm.
access. It was incredible. It's so ambitious considering like
It is, yeah.
every animal, every dinosaur in the game is tameable. Different dinosaurs have different
And they poop.
modes to tame them. Like like there's so many like minute details in terms of gameplay and how like they've designed it. They just that you just wonder how they done it at all. It's just so,
Yeah.
especially when the maps are so big.
They are.
Like a lot of the maps in the game are really big. And that's also, also bring up at the same point. They add more dinosaurs and tameable creatures with every expansion and like free map. Like I think the newest free map came out the other day. I might go on and play actually. And that added a couple of new dinosaurs that will no doubt have interesting tame mechanics as well.
Of course, yeah.
And I just think it was an incredibly ambitious project that became just an amazing game, if you ask me. So with Arc 2, I'm really looking forward to seeing them build on that, and hopefully solve my biggest issue with it, me and my friend's biggest issue, because whenever we've tried to run a private server, like a dedicated server, it's not the same as like Minecraft or say Valheim or something, where the host can open the server up, have the server essentially saved the next time you
Yeah.
come on,
Mhm.
and be able to play the server while hosting it at the same time.
Right.
One of us has always had to be running the server on a different system and playing it on another, which is such an annoyance. So that's what that's what killed my old computer.
Yeah.
That's why I've had to got my recent gaming PC, because I tried running an Ark server on that so I could play it on my Xbox.
I have a quick question for you about your gaming PC.
Go for it. The
Have
old
you
one or
managed
the
to
new one?
install- The new one.
Uh-huh.
Have you managed to install Discord on it yet?
Pete, I think that's irrelevant to the discussion we're having right now. So,
Oh no! It's just a chance for me to just absolutely ring you about not even installing Discord on your computer yet. For Christ's sake, you need a good communication platform, and you have chosen violence.
Well, yeah, the problem is for my PC, I still need a camera and a mic. That's the problem for my computer. I've had those for the
Okay.
computer. I use my computer.
Okay, look, right. The camera I've got now cost me £15.
I will get. I need to send Pete this microphone.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
need
that's
to sort
boring
something out
stuff.
with that mic. But
Boring stuff.
Can I direct you to that small thing that you have currently lodged on your head?
I don't think it's compatible because it's like, well, because it's not
Is it
USB.
USB?
Oh, audio
it's not USB.
listeners.
But you
audio
can get a
listeners.
converter, I'm sure.
I have tried, Pete, and they've all been
Okay.
terrible and not worked.
Fine, I can appreciate the excuse.
I have a counter argument to every point you make, sir.
You do, like I said, I can appreciate the excuse.
Yeah. So
But
my whole
yeah, good God.
yeah. So
Carry on.
that's what my conclusion thought is. I can't wait for Ark 2, an amazing survival game. I hope that it's polished by the time it comes out next year, and it'll be early next year as well, first half.
Yes.
At least if it stays that way, stays on track. And I really hope they fix the server system so that it plays more Minecraft. We can literally just jump in, run a server without me having to have two bloody gaming systems running at the same time.
Sure. I have a counterpoint to you though, good sir.
Yes.
What is the game?
It's a survival
Ark,
crafting
yeah.
game.
I'm
where-
taking the mic.
Oh,
Have you seen the game?
No,
Or
but
have you
You're-
only seen CG stuff?
you're doing what
no.
needs to.
You know, Pete, I have not seen the game, but you know what? Day one with Game Pass, Pete. That's when I'll see it.
Yes, I'm fully aware and fully appreciative.
See.
I get that. But I
That's-
need to see the game to have any level of excitement. This is kind of the point
mean-
I'm getting
I
at
was gonna
here.
say this is the
I mean-
argument
I mean,
you
it's
made
got
a few
Vin
weeks
Diesel.
ago. It's got Vin Diesel's nipples.
It's got Vin Diesel. What more do you want? What
It
makes
depends
family?
on what kind of Vin Diesel we see churn out here. Like, is
It's-
it Vin Diesel in a crappy Riddick sequel, or is it
No,
Vin
it's-
Diesel in Iron Giant?
Oh goodness.
Vin Diesel and Fast and Furious, but with dinosaurs instead of cars.
Oh Christ, get it off my console then. I hate the Fast and Furious. Moving on.
Yes, please move.
Right. So next up we had Scorn, and I
I
can't say I
no, I don't
know
care.
much
I don't
about
care.
this.
I don't care what anyone says. I am looking forward to that game.
Fair enough. I all I was gonna say is I don't really remember this.
It looks cool, but it disgusts me whenever I see it.
What?
Fair enough.
Oh, because
Every
it's
time I
called
see it,
Scorn. Because
I-
it's called Scorn.
Oh,
Yeah, that went through my head too.
every
Scorn-
time I see it, man.
Scorn's an enemy class on Destiny 2 for those who.
Of course, it's
don't
based on
know.
that by
Yes, I know.
was it H.R. Geiger? H.G. Geiger?
Mhm. Yo, it's,
Yeah.
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 So, that his art is what influenced Alien.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah. But anyway, it's coming out on 21st of October.
I
Art
am-
style,
I
like
will
you
be
said,
playing
looks pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all of it for me.
I think
So
that's going to be a sleeper hit. I do. I really
I-
do.
I reckon so. But yeah, it's gonna be like it's on Game Pass, so I'll give it a go at least. So next up we had fantasy action role playing game Flintlock, the
And I want
Siege
that
of
too.
Dawn. This is out in early 2023, and yes, this did look actually kind of interesting.
I
I'm
really
surprised
liked
there's
it. hmm
Got nothing else I need to say on it. I think it looks
I'll be-
interesting. Early,
Honestly-
like 2023. It's Game Pass, you know.
I like the protagonist.
Yeah.
What I will bring up is, I think that's good, and there was a lot of like single player focused games that were shown in this show. I'm sure we'll get to them
They were.
hmm
later. Which again, I think this showcase really helped Microsoft combat a lot of their critics. With regards to again
yeah.
what they mentioned about them getting all the big names and games in the pipeline, but
hmm
big
Mm.
criticism being when they're coming out. Well, every game again out in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Over
But
the
it's
course of the
also the
next 12
fact that most of Microsoft games are multiplayer focused or shooter focused, and now
Yeah.
they've got like a very different range of games coming that are single player focused or online multiplayer focused that are singular experiences, let's say, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good to have a diverse catalogue of games.
Yep. Yeah, no,
next up,
I think that
go
was good. I was just gonna say, yeah, I that's one of the more interesting ones they showed off.
Yeah.
Interest.
right. So next up, don't know how well this came across in the stream when you guys were watching it live. If you watched it live, of course.
I did.
Minecraft Legends.
Oh, so
Been asked?
okay. Let me just say this. They started with the opener thing, said, this is not a Minecraft game, but
It's
created
a Minecraft game.
by the Minecraft creators, Mojang and all that
Mhm.
stuff. New game from the creators of Mojang that's not Minecraft, and then it turns out to be Minecraft. I mean, it is a different
Yeah, but it's kind of like
Minecraft
what they did with Minecraft Dungeons and stuff like
and
that. It's
stories
just,
and stuff.
this is exactly what I thought Mojang or Mojang, however you pronounce it, like
Oh,
were
I would say
gonna do.
Mojang.
They're gonna have games that are obviously in their wheelhouse is Minecraft.
I mean-
They're overseeing all of
Yeah.
all the Minecraft, so it's good to have a lot of strings to their bow. Doesn't hurt really to expand the universe because it's massive. It's a huge selling franchise, that gets them a lot of money. Microsoft paid a lot of money for Mojang back in the day, so yeah, they've got it back probably tenfold at this point, but
I would
they
say
can't
so.
just rest on just Minecraft alone. Eventually that's going to bottom out, and they do need to diverge. So I think that's kind of what they're doing, is they're trying out different sort of games to see what kind of direction they could go with with a new project if they get the chance to.
What's interesting about this though is I have no idea what to call the type of game it is.
It's a strategy game, action strategy, sorry, according to Eurogamer.
Yeah, action strategy. because
Yeah.
like at a glance you're like, oh, it's like a third person thing. From the
It's-
gameplay they
yeah.
showed, it's like third person, but it's like
It's over the
you're like
shoulder.
gathering up these different forces to
Mm.
help you.
Yeah.
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of Overlord. Do you remember Overlord back in
gosh.
the day?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Where you played as the big guy and you'd gather up your little
Little minions.
evil minions, and
Yeah.
then send them to do your bidding. It seems that kind of style-ish in a way, kind of influenced by that. But again, until we see
Yeah.
more, like it's very hard to define it. But
Mhm.
interesting. The fact that I can't define it is actually quite interesting. 'Cause it's
Sure.
not like
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be specific about what I asked beforehand, why I asked whether you watched this live, because I don't know how good it would have come across in terms of the quality on the stream. But watching this back after the fact, this is the one trailer that I went, "Whoa, this is visually striking," and I'm here for that at least. It was stunning.
Alright.
Yeah.
See, it's not something I really paid
Uh,
much attention.
go if you can go back and watch the 4K version of it, and it will pop. Trust me.
Okay.
The greens are very green, let's say.
Yeah.
Right, next up we had Lightyear Frontier.
And also have a
Remind
crafting
me of
thing.
that one.
An-
Oh,
another.
Yeah.
It's what
Subnautica, but on a planet. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
what Eurogamer have tentatively put Stardew Valley with robots. Question
Okay,
mark.
or that. like,
Or that, but
if it's
yeah,
free,
even
I'll-
they have said it in their article just on this point. It's getting boring now, but you can play it day one on Game Pass. So I'm not the only one who had that sentence.
I
And
will-
this was being done live, let's say, because this is the live blog that I did.
Yeah.
so-
I will probably play it just because that's the style of game that I enjoy, but then nothing stood out for
Yeah, it didn't for me either, but yeah, Game Pass, so cool. Next up, we had probably the worst game for me, let's say, because they mentioned the one word that I absolutely hate when it comes to games:
NFTs.
roguelike or roguelite.
Alright.
Gunfire Reborn coming in October.
is
The
that
only
one?
thing that I found interesting about this was the art style looked kind of cool.
I don't remember. What is it?
But roguelite, it's a goddamn roguelite.
Yeah, no.
You play as like it's like a first person shooter type thing where you play as these
I think so.
little furry animals.
Oh, right. The one that looked
Yeah.
like the game I just mentioned earlier. Borderlands. Looked like Borderlands but with animals.
Yeah, it's got that
Yeah, it's
kind
very
of
stable.
similar-ish kind of art style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, the minute it said roguelite on the screen, I was like, I'm nah.
Whatever happened to Party Animals?
Sorry.
Party Animals, the game that was like.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
Fall
waiting for that.
Fall
Just
Guys
waiting
with
for that to
Party
come out.
Animals.
I'm surprised it didn't actually show up in this
I didn't.
showcase.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
unless obviously they're saving it possibly for later on next year, or
Yeah.
who knows. Next we had The Last Case of Benedict Fox, which
That's so
looks-
dumb.
I mean the art style was incredibly striking.
Yes.
Let's say.
And it was a platformer, which you love.
Sorry.
It's a platformer, which you love.
Oh no. No.
Oh.
This is the kind of platform I do not like.
Okay, because I had no interest in this one.
It'd be the Metroidvania style that I'm
Oh,
a
right.
fan of. So I like a platformer, but I'm not fond of the Metroidvania backtracking sort of stuff. So
Oh,
it's
really?
the one reason
Okay.
I end up dropping playing Ori and the Blind
But
Forest, because as great a game as
that's-
it is, I just don't like Metroidvanias.
But you liked Abe's Odyssey, right? Right?
I've gone back and played it and not as fond anymore.
No, Pete, no.
No, Abe's Exodus is still good, but Abe's Odyssey has aged quite horribly, I think.
Well.
It has its moments.
Yeah, push
Anyway,
in the circle
yeah.
button. Anyway.
But yeah, that's all I've got to say on that one. It looks like a very good... Looks like it could be an interesting Metroidvania for fans
Cool.
of Metroidvanias, but
Mhm.
I don't know how many more times I need to say that, so I'm not going to say it anymore. Right, so we had an update for As Dusk Falls, which is what they're calling an interactive drama from Interior
Yeah.
Nights.
It's
Oh,
one of
I
those ones where
know.
we'd call it a game. I'd call it an interactive experience.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it.
This art style is different, but yeah, it doesn't look like my kind of thing. But
I can't-
obviously, yeah, Game Pass.
It's just
Yeah.
still photos.
That's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I like the idea of it. I like how they've approached styling it, where it is like kind of like still images like of the actors, and it's very well
Yeah.
detailed.
It is very
Yeah.
well detailed.
But like, it's a bit jarring to watch whenever I've seen
Yeah,
it.
that's
It can be a
that
bit
was the
jarring.
thing. Yeah,
That's what I mean, yeah.
That's what confused me about it, is that art style really was a bit
And then it'll have like
disorientating.
the police car was going along and it looks really cool and it was moving, but then
Yeah.
it would go to a still image,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Oh, I
my
didn't.
brain.
Yeah, there's such a conflict in the visual styles, isn't it?
Watch it turn out to be like this amazing narrative, and I'm missing out on this like.
yeah.
What?
Sorry.
No. Bold prediction. This is gonna go down like a lead balloon, like 12 minutes did.
Well, we'll see. It did make me think of 12 minutes. Now, weirdly, I like 12 minutes. But it's only a game you're gonna play through once. You know, you're not gonna. There's no real replay value. But it reminded me of Life is Strange and all those.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So there is an audience for it.
But that's
I
the
don't know
thing,
that
is
I'm
that
in
Life
it,
is
though.
Strange actually has more gameplay than this, probably.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so this one was an interesting one because this has been out on PC for a while, but it's coming to console for obviously Game Pass, Series X, you know, and Series S. So this is Naraka Blade Point.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Yeah.
See, for a battle royale, the gameplay
Looks
very
fun
unique.
as hell.
Yeah, it's very unique, very different.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks interesting. Obviously, I haven't played it on PC, but with it on console and Game Pass, I may have a look.
Yeah.
If there are enough people playing it, I might give it a go.
I don't know if it's my cup of tea personally, but again, I looked at it and
Yeah.
very interesting. Very interesting.
It's, I mean, Japanese, like anything to do with Japanese stuff like that, I'm kind of in for. So
Was
I like
that-
its art style in that respect.
Was that the one that was really, really dark? Because there's two Japanese. Well, yeah, there's two Japanese games.
There was another one that we'll talk about a
Okay,
bit later.
I think that's the
you
one I
might
was
be
like-
thinking of. But yeah, this is the battle royale sort of one.
I can't remember it.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, this one was a bit more of a surprise because Obsidian seemed to be working on a lot of games.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about this.
So this was Pentiment, which is a narrative adventure game. Apparently it's due out in November. Very striking art style again on this one. But Kylie, I'll let you lead the way on this one.
Yeah, sorry, got distracted by chat.
Don't be
as
distracted.
usual.
Carry on, Karen. We'll cover that
No.
at the end, all right? Thanks.
Right. Okay, I love Obsidian. I love their storytelling. So regardless, no matter what, anything, this is going to be a very strong, solid story, and it's going to be amazing. But I was shocked. You know what I really thought it was? I thought it was kind of a little bit of a parody at first, and then was going to turn out to be Fable. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
That didn't happen. It kept going. I was like, oh, this is not parody. This is serious.
No, this is the game.
Yeah, this is the game.
It's that J. Jonah Jameson meme where he's sitting laughing, but his face is like, "Oh, wait, you're serious?"
yeah, exactly.
Oh, don't because I've seen that meme so many times. Thank you, Critical Drinker.
Oh gosh. But I will still play it because it's Obsidian and because I love Obsidian. But I was surprised to see a kind of 2D flat storytelling game.
Before it came up that Obsidian were making it, I thought it was like another indie, which is remarkable. The fact that, like, I think I saw it on Twitter. I can't remember who said it, but someone said like the Xbox Bethesda showcase for them was really impressive for how it was blurring the lines between what was AAA and what was indie. I think this is
agree
one of
with
the
that.
prime examples of that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case. Yeah.
Yeah, but it does look very unique, very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, might give it a bash. Game Pass, so
Yeah.
Exactly.
But speaking of Obsidian, because we had a double barrel shot from them, so the next one was Grounded, the game that's been in early access, or I can't remember
Game
what they
preview.
call it, a game preview.
Yeah.
Thank you. Revealed to come in September, and
With a big
God
old
damn it,
spider.
Obsidian. Thank you. I hate you, Obsidian. I wish you wouldn't do this. I know it's one of your big. I know it's one of your big draws that spiders are an intimidating creature within your game. But good God, think of the people who hate spiders.
It
Yeah,
is.
but Pete, Pete,
This is
that's
like the
what,
fourth time you've done this, for Christ's sake.
it's why they've got an arachnophobia mode that turns them into just giant black blobs.
But it's worse. We've had this discussion before. It's worse. I know what they are, so it makes it even more annoying. So I'm not. This is the kind of game I really want to bloody play, but I can't play it.
I do
I'm
think
so
we'd
annoyed
have.
by it. It looks awesome.
I think we'd
The
have a lot
story
of
looks
fun playing
crazy
it.
as well.
Yeah.
I like the
Oh,
fact I completely forgot it was an early access game.
I did too.
yeah, I did as well. I
so
saw
what's
it. It was like, hang on, why are they showing Grounded? And I
It's
went,
pretty
oh yeah, because it's actually
polished and-
coming out to full release.
Yeah, which is really good because now that means for anyone that's played the game and followed the story of it, you'll finally be able to finish the game and grow back to full size.
Yeah, there you
know?
go.
Yeah, you'll get able to see the
Which is
story
great.
in full, which is great.
Which meant to let me open the way for a kind of speedrun potential.
Oh gosh.
Because I know
Could
there's a
be
lot of
interesting,
Minecraft
yeah.
speedrunners out there, for example, who try to
Yep.
get to the end dragon as fast as possible. You know, how fast can you grow back? That'll be quite fun to watch. I think.
Yo.
No, I'm gonna avoid making jokes. Anyway, moving on. We had a world premiere because there was a lot of them.
World premiere. There,
Yeah,
I
we
did
had
it.
Ereban Shadow Legacy.
I don't
This is
remember
an
what
action
that is.
stealth platformer. Sorry.
I don't remember what that is.
Neither do I.
Oh my god.
The thumbnail I'm seeing from the YouTube is just I don't recognize it at all.
Yeah, it's a kind of third-person stealth game.
Oh,
Yeah.
the stealth game. Yes. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of like Thief, but like updated and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't like stealth games. I don't have the patience for it, but I think people who like stealth games will like it. But I don't have the patience.
Okay.
just-
Right, we'll move away from that because I think this
Big one.
one's going to be a big one. And this be... Oh, thank you, Chloe.
thank you,
Nice break.
Chloe.
Cheers. Sorry.
Whoop.
This is a big one. Because this is the second game that we said about the Activision Blizzard being possibly overconfident, and they were very overconfident with the fact that Diablo 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right, so let's just go
Yeah.
through this quickly.
Very quickly.
Not quickly. Like I know there's going to be a lot of discussion about the actual like showcase itself that they had. So, yep. So, yeah, they showed a CG trailer, and this was to reveal a new class for the game, which is the Necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool.
It was cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not
cool.
Diablo fan. I've never played Diablo, so a lot of this is gonna go over my head. So I'll let you two cover the conversation a little bit more. But the developer showcase was very, very, very interesting to someone who's not a Diablo fan, and possibly sort of like, oh my god, this is probably what I wanted for Diablo 4 for you Diablo fans, I guess.
I have never played a Diablo game in my life.
Okay.
I've never been a big fan of like the kind of action RPG style that's kind of top down almost. Never really been a big fan of it. But from the showcase, really did catch my interest.
Yeah, if it's
Seen
on
the
Game Pass,
gameplay.
if it's gonna come to Game Pass, it's probably one I'm likely to download and play.
Bishop, did they not say it was?
They didn't, because I think it was them trying to dial back the little bit of the overconfidence about that deal.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, it might be possible that there's still a deal in place to have this on PlayStation as well.
Yeah, well, there was also the alongside the world premieres and the day one Game Pass, you did have console launch exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah,
Some of them. I
Which
can't
is
remember.
why
if that
I've
was
mentioned it on a couple of them.
Yeah.
No, this looks like it's probably coming to PC at the same time as well, which doesn't surprise me at all.
No, because that's where most of the players are.
Oh yeah, that's where the.
Oh, absolutely, and you know,
you think about the outcry when they announced Diablo Immortal for mobile only.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the outcry that they get at BlizzCon if they did one this year, if they said it's not coming to PC, it was like this is an out of date April Fool's joke again.
Oh my goodness.
You get those memes again. What, have you not got an Xbox controller?
I was literally about the same joke. They're just like, yeah, so Diablo 4 is coming exclusive to Xbox, they're getting booed. Just like, well, you guys all have an Xbox Series X, right?
Or a Series S.
What I will say
God.
is that, yes, the Necromancer class has been in high demand for a while now. And looks like it's strong enough to... It just looks good.
It looked interesting to me. Like as a non-Diablo player, it was like, yeah,
I
I kind
haven't,
of
like,
that class.
After the whole Activision thing, as we all know it, I quit playing Diablo. I was never like, I'm not like a hardcore Diablo fan, but you know, I like time wasters. Ooh, I thought probably just offended about 30% of our audience. But for me, that is what it is. I mean, there's people who release YouTube videos of builds and stuff.
Yeah.
I respect it. It's not for me.
Yep.
But I do know that the necromancer. I keep saying neuromancer. That's anyway. Necromancer.
That's a very different thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, because I like dark magic, especially when I'm playing tabletop role-playing games. So this might be something to entice me in massively. But yeah, I know a couple of people who are massive on Diablo, especially 3, who are in my poker group. Like, I bet they're hyped, so I've got to talk to them about it soon. So we'll see. But okay, so a game that I've never played, despite the fact being a fan of rare games back in the past. Sea of Thieves Season 7.
Yeah.
This was charming.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
A lot of quality of life stuff.
Yes, a lot of great stuff probably being added to the game. So for people who have obviously played it, I can't say I have, but I guess the ability to finally buy and own a ship and captain it would actually be a reason to keep playing.
And decorate it. Don't forget that part.
Yes,
That's
but
the
that comes with
important
the
part.
owning. The owning. That comes with the
decorate what?
owning.
You can decorate your
ships.
your cabin's quarters and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to say you've always been able to customize the ship, but you're not be able
No,
to
I
name it
mean,
and like
yeah.
save
Yeah,
the.
but yeah, you
the
haven't been able
logo.
buy
Now you
name
can-
ships. You know, you can actually run it as a proper captain now, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. I guess you'll be able to keep your loot like now, because I know that was a big problem with the game when it first launched.
I think I don't know about that. I think that's part of the charm is like the risk involved.
Yeah,
You know, because that's what creates
Oh,
all
it
the
is,
exciting
but
moments.
it is. But if you're playing a looter game, especially as a pirate, you would like to keep your loot.
I mean, to be fair, all your loot does for you is get you XP towards becoming a pirate legend and get you to buy things.
Yeah, but now that it looks like that loot actually is going to have a lot more purpose,
Value.
let's say.
Yeah, maybe. Again, all round, nice little update, I guess.
Yeah.
I
guess
think
it's
that's
nice
fine.
That's
Yeah,
it.
as someone who doesn't play it. Anyway, so another world premiere, we had Ravenlock.
I don't remember what that is.
Ravenlock.
What is
I
that one?
cannot remember this one.
Exactly. From Cocoon Cucumber, which is
Oh,
Echo
no,
Generation.
I remember it. Yes, it's you know what I mean. It remember like kind of like a dark Alice in Wonderland type thing.
Oh, that's
Yes,
right.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. I
I
gotcha.
had
I gotcha.
the big Alice in Wonderland vibes from this.
Yeah. Because the
Yeah.
whole looking glass and roses and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I said, can't remember it, so not got much to say on it. Sorry.
Sorry, Ravenlock. Goodbye.
Yeah. Next we had Cocoon. I remember this one because the art style was a little bit more weird.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yes,
a
it's
dumb
from
name.
it's from the people that made Inside and
And Limbo.
And Limbo and Inside and Journey Run
Yeah.
something.
Sorry to our to the new
Braid?
viewers. We're covering all comments at the end once we finish the showcase, so please hold fire. So we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, Karen.
Yeah. No, I have no interest of this.
I don't think I do either.
It grossed me out a little bit.
what?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah,
that
it's one of those things like with Inside and Limbo, like it's got a very unique art style, let's say, and it's going to appeal to some and possibly not to others.
I really liked Inside, except that it didn't have an ending, and that bothered me.
I really like Limbo, apart from that giant spider, but I did like ripping its legs off.
Well, there you go, Pete.
That's terrible. You know, Pete. Whenever I have a spider in the house, I actively make an effort not to kill it.
Yeah, so do I.
Get it outside.
Yeah,
That's right.
so do I. I run
So
away
why do
from
you
them.
take pleasure in the slaughtering and butchering?
Because it lets me live out a fantasy that I will never do myself by killing a spider because
goodness.
I do not harm anything.
Clip that when Pete inevitably commits spider genocide. Clip this clip.
Fine.
Spider side.
Spider side. No spider
Right.
is safe. That goes to you, Peter Parker.
Okay, this is right. Moving on very quickly,
Okay.
because I'm not going to say this is a megaton announcement because the next one after this was the next megaton.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Jesus, this one's pretty huge. for one reason or another, because it's a partnership between two incredibly huge Japanese studios.
Oh, right. Yes.
And a partnership that Microsoft have had before and have renewed for a new game called Wulong Fallen Dynasty. But this is Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I thought this was a Ninja Gaiden revival to start.
It's beautiful. And that's the one I thought you were talking about earlier.
Does the game still rustle your jimmies?
Oh,
yes. 100%.
How much on a scale of 1 to 10? How rustled are your jimmies right now?
It's a Game Pass out of 10.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Very high score, people. For those. That is a very high score.
Yeah, so probably a day one actual download, so I'll give this a go. Definitely. I like their games. So, yeah, good to see Microsoft actually making do with their trips to Japan recently and making those deals. It'll be nice to see them actually get some on board. Speaking of Japan, and like I said, this is probably the second of probably 3 megatons. Persona is finally coming to Xbox.
Persona fans
But
went nuts.
But in a weird way, I'm not gonna deny it to start. Because Persona 1 and 2 are not even here. Maybe they've aged too badly, or there's some exclusivity on them. I don't know. I think the only thing that I have to sort of explain what could explain this is that it's Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal, which are upgraded versions of their base games. I don't think Persona 1 and 2 had upgraded versions. Maybe my only way to explain that. But anyway, the reason why this is weird, this is also, by the way, huge announcement, because Atlus have been notorious for being on Sony platforms with the main Persona series, and these are the main Persona series games coming. But it's Persona 5 first, then Persona 4, and then Persona 3. So it starts in October. Obviously, they come to Game Pass. Ciaran,
Yes.
as someone who's not a PlayStation person, I would imagine you've never even thought about ever playing a Persona game.
No, and I still don't think I will.
Well,
Again,
it's my next question.
Yeah, it's just not my thing, personally.
Fair.
I know there's a big fan base behind it and stuff. Also, tragically, I don't know if you saw the news today. Apparently, one of the voice actors.
I did, yeah.
I've passed away.
Not great news. So yeah, I did see that.
Very young too.
But again,
obviously,
at least the game that he's in is now coming to more people, which is great.
Yes. Which will be great.
Yeah.
But Kylie, yourself, any interest?
No, again, I agree with Ciaran. It's got a big fan base, so I'm aware that there's a lot of people that love this game. It's just not my type of game. So
okay. Makes
even
sense.
free, I probably won't.
I'm gonna break with type here then.
Ooh.
Day one download for me for Persona 5 because I've actually been waiting to play it for bloody ages, and this is the perfect opportunity to play it. And like I said, but reiterated plenty of times, I'm not an RPG fan.
It's because Joker's in
Smash. I'm
Smash.
gladly play this because Joker's been in Smash.
Yep.
Also, a lot of people have told me that Persona 4 Golden is like one of the best RPGs around, so I probably should get around to playing it.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, glad these are coming to Xbox.
Well,
actually, finally.
Let me know what you think about it.
Okay. We now have the third Megaton announcement, and probably the final.
And I want to talk a lot about it, but I will go last.
No, you're missing one thing. You've forgotten one thing. So we had Big Phil come on at this point, and we only have Big Phil come on for big things.
Oh yeah, Big Phil comes on for big thing. Big Phil comes on for big things at big times.
There you go.
Oh yes. So he came on big time.
He does indeed.
I further reiterate that in 4K he does look like he's incredibly stoned, but that's neither here or there.
Yeah, I don't see it. If anything, I think he just looks incredibly handsome.
It's peaceful
He
and
no,
gentle.
no, he is a handsome dude, but he just looks high as hell. Anyway, look, I'm not gonna argue that it's legal in California. If he wants to do that, then so be it. He's a head of a massive corporation. Cool. Anyway, so we'd heard rumblings about this particular partnership for a long while, and it's supposed to be utilizing a certain technology that Microsoft have called Azure.
The cloud gaming.
How that
Yeah.
would happen? So that would be the bombshell that once notorious PlayStation or Sony person who's developed mostly for their consoles have made a collaboration with Microsoft for their next game, which is supposed to be focused on cloud gaming. This is apparently the one that they were working on with Stadia and cancelled. Kojima Productions.
Oh.
Yes, so Mr. Hideo Kojima himself.
I did.
We've got a
forget that.
message from Hideo Kojima himself to say he's working with Microsoft on this next project. Showed nothing
Right.
to be expected.
It was a crazy surprise though.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
At this show of all places.
Yes, but I brought this up for a reason. Because, oh boy, the salt from the Sony
Oh, I
fans
know.
afterward was so funny.
And they have
What-
Death
I didn't
Stranding.
realise they actually were up in arms.
Oh,
What
they
was the-
were, even to the point where Kojima Productions' English account had to comment on it and say, no, we've still got partnership, we've still got work going on with Sony for other projects.
Was
Don't worry.
bloodthirsty? It was crazy. It was absolutely
So fun,
ridiculous.
so brilliant.
My goodness.
Come on, console fanboys, you're making it too easy to mock you. God. Oh, this was hilarious. Just for the salt afterwards. But yeah, I'm really excited about that because, you know, I've put on record I do not like Death Stranding. I own it. I've tried it. I couldn't get into it. I'm gonna give it another try at some point to see if I can get past the first initial hump. I don't
Yeah.
think I will.
Thing is, though,
But hey,
credit where credit's due, it is a goddamn
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
walking simulator.
yeah, it absolutely is. Like you can see the merits in the game in terms of its scope and its graphics, you know, but I'm more interested to see what he can do with this because there's been some rumblings about what he could do, and I'm interested. Let's say.
Yeah.
But I know you both want to talk about this. Believe you me, I want to talk about this. This is the very last thing. This is the final thing, and we all knew this was coming.
Todd Howard's
Obviously.
fit.
The big Todd.
Todd Howard's drip was on
Oh,
point.
he was so adorable. Just wanted to
Yep.
pinch his
So,
cheek.
obviously, we're talking about Starfield. Now, look, I'm going to let you two wax lyrical about this for a lot longer than I will. I just want to preface a couple of things on the very start of this. This is what I meant when I said at the very beginning. I watched this in 4K at the highest visual fidelity that you could find possible, even to the point of I had the 60 frame option on too. This is another game. Absolutely, I can see why it's been delayed. Completely. Because, my goodness, the game is a visual spectacle. I'm taking nothing away from the visuals whatsoever. They pop. They look stunning as hell. That frame rate is choppy. It's very choppy.
See, Pete, fun enough, my friend said the same thing to me when the show finished. I didn't notice it when I was watching, to be honest.
Because
I
of the
did
stream.
not notice it. But he said the exact same thing. He said, "Did you notice that frame rate?" And I was like, "No." But yeah.
Okay, so let me just mention a few other things because I'm just going to let you guys rant. This is more your kind of
Well, I
thing.
don't have too much to say personally.
No.
I was like,
know
I'm happy
Kylie's
to go last.
No, that's
I'll
what I mean.
disagree with
Kylie's-
everything you'll have to say.
Yeah, fine. Another reason why I think this game was delayed, and probably rightly so, because I think they finally gave me a reason why this has been in development for a long time. It's the scope of the game. this has gone far beyond what I ever expected it to probably be. And okay, just 2 seconds on this one. I've been very, very, very critical in the past about Bethesda Game Studios, particularly Todd Howard's team working on Fallout and Elder Scrolls and all that in the terms of the creation engine. My worries and fears about the game itself and my constant hammering, even to a point where a few weeks ago I was still saying I need to see the game. Now that I've seen the game, I said out loud to myself whilst watching this, day one, I'm sold, 100%.
Wait,
And this is what I've been waiting for. I've just been waiting to see the actual game.
wait,
sold.
hold on, Pete. You're saying you're sold on Starfield for day one?
I'm sold on it. No
Well,
matter what. Look, the frame rate looks choppy, but like I said, I know why they've delayed it now, and I hope that it gets better. I know it will get better eventually, obviously, because that's what Bethesda do. But I'm sold. I'm 100% on board now.
Right. You know, the way you set us up, Pete, I thought you were going to hate it. Because, see, personally, I'm not impressed. I don't really
No.
care for it.
So
I
this
don't
is
care for it.
So I've laid the nuggets throughout the whole thing by setting this up that I was sort of half expecting you for disappointment. No,
Yeah, it's not
I am not
I
disappointed.
expected both of you to be disappointed, not just one.
It's not so much disappointment, it's just ambivalence. I don't care. Like, I saw it, you know what it is, right? There's nothing about it to me that seems exciting. I don't know, like, from what they teased of the plot doesn't draw me in. The gameplay doesn't look anything special.
Which
If
I'm
anything,
surprised about, considering that one, you really like No Man's Sky.
that,
Two, is the fact that
I'll get onto the comparison in a second.
yeah, I knew this was going to come, which is why
Uh-huh.
I've decided to bring it up now. But the fact that they've gone somewhere different with it, the fact that I never expected them to put an oxygen meter in this, or anything sort of along those lines. They really have
Why? They
gone
give you
more
energy.
out with the survival elements, and I'm really happy with that.
It's like I think you know what it is with me as well. I'm a fan of the setting. It doesn't. It feels like pseudo sci-fi. You know, honestly, watching it, I could easily be watching like a mod for Fallout that makes it somewhat sci-fi. I don't know.
Okay, I
Like,
can
there's
respect
something.
that.
So like, from the gunplay for a start, the gunplay looks like it doesn't look any different from Fallout
Yeah,
4.
okay. Admittedly, the gunplay didn't inspire me,
I
but
hate the fact there's no hit marker. Because I'm watching it, I was just no, it was upsetting to watch that and like not know.
I reckon
Without,
I reckon that's just for the gameplay demonstration. That's it.
let's
I
hope.
think it might be something they're adding in.
I need feedback. I need immediate feedback when I'm playing a shooter to know what good ones have it. So yeah, summary, like, plot doesn't seem that exciting to me. I like, as much as there's a mystery there.
Yeah.
I don't care to find out what the mystery is. Again, I don't care. The gameplay, it just looks like Fallout, but in a different paint to me.
Okay.
What I do like, what did find interesting though, is the actual space stuff. I really like the level of depth you have when customizing a ship. I did not expect the ship customization, and
That's
for it to be
exactly what I
so
mean by the scope of it. Like the fact
detailed.
that the 1,000 planets, the detail, and the ship customization are all things that I never thought
Yeah,
I'd be that
yeah,
into, but
yeah. The
I'm
ship
well
customization,
into it.
because like, it's not as if like, oh, here's your here's wing option 1, 2, and 3. It's not like that. Like, you probably have like those for simplicity, but it's like the fact that they show there's like little tiny parts you can just put on anywhere, really, to like just make it your own and like really beef it out or thing it. It's
Yeah.
interesting. And then obviously you got your actual space flight, which was like not teased but rumored that that was going to be a feature. Again, even the space flight though, it just didn't like. You know what it is? I'm watching that, so that's where I'm going to No Man's Sky comparison, because the big thing that Big Todd rounded off with was that not only can you land, you can reportedly land anywhere on a planet,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm skeptical on. But that there are at least 1,000 planets. I think that's maximum. There's 100
think it
star
was, yeah.
systems.
No, I
100
thought it was
star
1,000.
systems. Yeah, 100. No, it's like 100 star systems and 1,000 planets.
Yeah.
Across them.
Okay.
Which, as you see with the scope, I think that's the biggest surprise of it.
Yeah, that's sort of what I meant, but
I think I'm at a point, I've played enough games to know that scope doesn't matter if it's empty, and that's where the big thing for the space stuff comes for me.
okay.
I think it's going to be empty. It's going to be devoid of life, and I think that's the point. I think the whole point is you might be exploring, discovering these new planets. They
Yeah.
talk about that in the reveal, but I don't know. No
Okay.
Man's Sky, in comparison, it's more colourful, it's more vibrant, and it's more lively as a space game. Fair enough, it's not got like it's good narrative elements or that, but
Yeah, I have thoughts specifically between the two, but I'm very conscious of the fact that this is a Bethesda game, and this is very much looks like Fallout in space. So I believe we need to get the expert in on this one. So Kiley, I could see you're chomping at the bit to talk about this. So go on.
Well,
Just look, the platform is yours. I am not interrupting for a moment.
yeah, right.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm teasing.
The
I'm
floor is
teasing.
yours.
No, when the trailer first started, I mean, obviously I was excited. Todd Howard's out, blah blah. I'm so excited, whatever. The trailer first started, and again, I want to clarify for our audience: I don't care about 4K graphics, frame rates. None of that. I don't have great vision, so it doesn't matter. Like just blobs. I don't care. And I'm not an audiophile. I don't have great hearing either, so I don't care. Like none of that stuff impresses me. But I was disappointed at first. It didn't have any life, which is not it's not a pun on there being no life, on these planets, but they didn't feel there was no heart, no life, no nothing. And I'm like, where's the thing that's going to pull me into this? And they showed the NPCs, and they felt like robots, not, it was very empty or whatever. But, so they lost me in the first half. But I am a person who plays a lot of solo type games, and one of the favorite things in Fallout, the only thing I play in Fallout 4, because again, I don't play any of the storyline or anything like that, is the building. So really what it's going to come down for me is that Starfield is going to be just my modified Fallout 4, the way I've modified it, the way I like it, but in space, which I think I'm basically saying exactly what Ciaran said and didn't just now realize that. So it is a modified Fallout 4. But I am intrigued by the 1,000 planets, which I think is going to end up being DLC and paid for type stuff. Because Fallout 4 has the creation station or whatever it's called. I don't know. The mods that they sell.
Oh, the Creation Club.
Yeah, that thing. So I assume it's probably going to be some kind of extension of that. So the planets are going to be like, you're going to purchase them. I just hit my mic again. So gunplay, I don't really care about because I'm more about exploration. I always OP my character anyway on all the Bethesda games, so that like if I'm walking through whatever kingdom or wasteland, like I just poof, shoot them once and they're out of my way, because that's not my goal. My goal is always exploration and building and all that kind of crap, which is looks like that's gonna feature heavily in Starfield. So having said all of that very boring stuff, am I excited for it like I was? No. Am I going to play this on day one? Absolutely. Am I going to be obsessed with the building of the shipbuilding? Oh, I will break from Ciaran on this. I was a huge fan, am a huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, the new one. And one of my favorite things are the dogfights between the spaceships. Absolutely love that. So I'm kind of excited about the dogfights, the space fighties. So that I think is going to that will be appealing to me, but that's because like there's this part in Lego Star Wars where you're like go first person in the ship, and you do the battles outside in space.
Yep.
Because Star Wars, and that is the best part of Lego Star Wars. Like to me, like I love the whole Lego Star Wars thing, but that little piece, that space, the fights. Oh, so I'm kind of hoping to get that feeling again because I've never had that in another game. So hopefully, maybe. But I'm tempering all of that with what happened to Fallout 4, which is, my excitement level was here, and then it came out, and then it was here. And now I've modified it, so modded the game, so I like it, but it's here. I'm kind of expecting the same thing from Starfield.
Yeah, the funny thing is, all three of these reactions are not saying I ever expected. I thought Kiley would be the most positive. Ciaran, I thought you'd be middle of the road, and I thought I'd hate it.
I thought you both
And
would.
we can put this is also just
we
like
all switched.
drifted opinions.
It's
Like,
gone slightly to the left, yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm saying, Pete. When you said that you're excited for it, I was like, from that trailer? Really?
Yeah, look, hard sci-fi. It's just hard sci-fi. I love hard sci-fi.
See, honestly, to me, if I was to describe it in a funny way, I'd say it looks like emo No Man's Sky.
Looks like emo No Man's Sky?
Yeah, like, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
like, so, like, see, compared to No Man's Sky, you know what I think, right? I think,
No
personally,
Man's Sky.
what I
right?
love about
That was
what I
it.
love about sci-fi, right, is the vibrancy and liveliness of space,
Mhm.
and what the sci-fi genre brings to, because space itself is
Yeah.
empty. Like, we know that it's empty,
Yeah.
and there's planets that are barren, and that's a thing. But what I love about sci-fi is how like it breathes life. Like the point of sci-fi is to breathe life into that.
Mhm.
And No Man's Sky has barren planets that are empty, but the world and the universe and the galaxy still feel alive.
See,
Yeah.
I'm watching that, and even when there's down on like they're showing off like how you start building a base, like you put down the thing,
Mhm.
much like in No Man's Sky, you put down that kind of base terminal, and then it
Mhm.
gives you a radius you can build within.
Yep.
The planet he was on, it looked like some empty moon, and like
Mhm.
again, it's no problem of like. I would much have rathered Starfield be more condensed
and better
and
quality.
more life be breathed into,
Mhm.
say, a singular solar system rather than this 100 and 1,000.
Y-
Because
I
by the
get
end of,
that.
at the end of the day, it is. I reckon it's getting up as just a worse No Man's Sky, and that's funny considering how No Man's Sky started.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I will admit that obviously the graphical style, like, whilst I do like
Oh,
certain
graphics look
elements of it, like, whilst I do like elements of it, some of it does feel a little bit sort of bland. I
Yeah,
do
it's
get where you're coming from on that one.
Like, especially
Like-
like when they went to New Atlantis, I'm like, oh yes, this is a bit of trailer of actually go see civilization.
Mhm.
It looked like some kind of outpost. It didn't even look like a city. It looked like, again, some
Yeah.
kind of like just some small outpost place.
I do
And
like whilst I agree with you, I think what certain bits they were showing us, I think they were scattering the timeline throughout, or scattering parts of the game throughout the entire gameplay demonstration. So I think when you find a planet, obviously it's going to be mostly uninhabited, and you will build that civilization up. You will do all of that stuff.
Now,
and
that
it
would be
will
cool
become
if
more
that's-
vibrant as a result.
That would be cool if that's.
And I
think-
think that's kind of going to be the gameplay loop of it, and I think that's kind of the point of the vision that they're going for of this.
that's it. But I like the vision, but at the same time, like we know for a fact that there's some brilliant creative minds over at Bethesda Game Studios,
Was
and I was really excited to
Yeah,
see a just another exciting, really
Okay.
creative new sci-fi setting. And
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
different. Again, it's different from the status quo of again very vibrant kind of alien-ish sci-fi. It's more grounded in that sense, I guess.
yeah. I think
Awesome.
in this respect, is I quite like the fact that it's quite early in terms of sci-fi, like 24th century, early.
Yeah.
But it does sort of give some credence to the fact that quite a few weeks ago now, when we spoke to the developers of Spaceboat, they did mention something to do with Bethesda and Starfield, didn't they? So
yeah, they said it was definitely not going to be ready this year. But what I did want to say, besides No Man's Skyrim, Haha, got it in there.
Oh yes, you've been waiting for that one.
But I wasn't at first. I wasn't too worried about the desolation and all that kind of stuff because Fallout New Vegas is my absolute favorite of the Fallout series. And there are just swaths of just barren desert. But there's something about it that is so full of heart and full of life. And I don't see that in the trailer. Now, that's not to say that it's not going to happen. It just I don't see it.
Yeah, I think the one thing Starfield might have is that No Man's Sky doesn't. Is I really hope the game does create a genuine, authentic sense of wonder within the player, and I think the visuals are going to help that. Considering that, because you think about the art style, No Man's Sky is kind of more.
It's very bright and vibrant.
Indie
bright
looking.
And this sort of dour,
It has the indie look.
3D animated, whereas this is like high quality graphics.
More.
High quality.
I'd say it's obviously two very different sides of the spectrum in the fact that obviously you've got the sort of cartoony sort of aspect, sort of cell shading in that respect for No Man's Sky, but it's more sort of a photorealism as much as you can get with a early sort of like 24th century sci-fi game.
Yeah, I'd say No Man's Sky style is very much similar. I'd describe No Man's Sky style similar to style. It's kind of toy boxy. Most. And then you have Starfield.
It's the sandbox, isn't it?
Which is again just all about the kind of engine and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of style, it's going for.
This is the hope in the analogy you were going to go for here. It's like No Man's Sky is the toy box, whereas this is the sandbox.
No.
That's what I'm going with, all right.
But no, I really hope. I think the visuals will certainly help. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm getting the game for free with Game Pass anyway.
Right.
I'm going to try it.
Exactly.
I've not had the best single player RPG in years.
No.
So I'm going to try it.
But that's what I've been saying across this entire time when we have all the time brought up Starfield, where I said I just need to see the game. And everyone was like, "Yeah, but it's coming to Game Pass." I was like,
"Yeah, I'm going to play it regardless."
I need to see the game. I need to see the game. I am going to play it regardless, but like, this is whether or not this is going to be like well on my radar to the point where I'm going to follow it, or it's on Game Pass. Okay, I'll give it a quick bash. I guess like we've mentioned throughout this entire showcase. So I sort of guess that sort of gets us to the point where we have to sort of round this whole thing up and go, well, what kind of a grade are we giving this? What are we rating this in terms of like Summer Games Fest and the PlayStation State of Play that was had like last week.
Just the showcase in general.
Yeah. So Kylie, I'm going to start with you actually, if you want to give your final thoughts on the entire showcase as a whole.
Well, I think we're in that kind of middle ground trying to get back to the way things were. Whether they will be or not, who knows. So I think this is, for what it is, which is games that were produced during, I was going to say the plague, pandemic. I'm getting tired.
Wait, we're not going back that far, all right?
Games that were produced during the pandemic are now, coming to fruition. So, so this is a reflection of that, which means that the big games aren't here yet because they had to be canceled and moved forward.
Yeah.
So, even having said that, it's so difficult because having said that and put those parameters in place, it was good. It was okay. It was good. Middling. Yeah. Now, I mean, if this had been any other year, like in the future, I would have been like, this is terrible. But knowing what they've all been through and all of that blah, 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 C+.
Okay.
It was good.
Ciaran?
I'm the complete opposite. I think overall, this kind of summer of gaming.
Surprise coming from the man wearing an Xcom shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The contrarian.
I tease Ciaran. Carry on.
I think overall, this summer of gaming this year, as it is so far, because I think this rumour that Nintendo Direct will be the end of the month and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the summer of gaming is still going on, but the bulk, the main summer of gaming, that is Summer Games Fest from the 9th to the 12th, and also count State of Play in that. overall, I think this has been an incredible year for announcements this summer. I think it's been exceptional, and I think the Bethesda Xbox Showcase is one of the best they've had in years. So I'm
Cool.
easily giving it an A+, borderline
Wow.
S tier.
Okay. Wow.
Mainly because they gave us they focused on the games. There was not some kind of just fluffy intro trailer. They literally jumped straight into Redfall gameplay.
You're correct
for me.
there.
It was,
You're right about that. Yeah.
right into it, and then after
Mhm.
Redfall it wasn't introduction just yet. No, here's Silk Song. After
Yeah.
that, I can't remember if it was the third one again, but yeah, there was the 3 announcements,
Yeah.
and then they had someone
High
come
on
on
life.
very briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah, and then
you're
they had the
definitely right
games
about
make a
that.
ton, so
Yeah,
they sort
and
of spaced them out really
I did
well,
like
didn't
that.
they?
I like that a lot.
So there was that. I think the showcase had something for everyone. Again, there's a lot of games that we weren't particularly interested in.
Mhm.
For example, Pete, I wasn't too interested in the Persona announcements. I know it's big.
Mm.
As someone who keeps up with the game industry and what's trending and stuff. But for example, you're a fan of Persona, so you're really looking forward to it. There's something for everyone there.
I'm not a fan of Persona. It's just the fact that Joker's been in Smash that I'm interested. That's all.
Nonetheless, Pete, you're quite excited for
I
the
know
announcement.
enough.
I didn't
I know
really care
enough.
much about it. But you see my point. My point is,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I get it.
there's a wide array of different games from different genres. A lot of AAA's, like indies, and also on top of that, they made sure to show games that are on track to be out.
Mhm.
Come
But no.
all of these games are more or less on track to be out
But no
this
release
time
dates.
next year.
But there were some that didn't even say 2023. It just was a trailer.
Yeah, but that's why they said at the start.
No, but
they're all to be out over the next 12 months.
Well, actually, Kylie, this is where you're wrong, and this is why
Okay.
having a pen and paper handy during the whole thing, because I actually noted dates for every single
Oh my
game that was
gosh.
here.
Yeah, no,
There was a
thank you.
date, or there was a date, either month and year, or just the year that was announced for every single game.
Okay.
Yep.
They just went.
Further reiterating the point of this was supposed to be everything that's coming out within 12 months.
Yeah.
They put
So
the
I think-
emphasis on that big time.
Yeah, again, there's that, and I think it's a big one for Xbox because especially I don't think two people caught on it, but the fact that they were able to acquire so many console launch exclusives is really good for them.
Yeah.
Because that's them again compensating for the fact that there's a lot of first party stuff still in the box, and a lot of stuff they've gotten is good. Again, I think what was that one called again? The third person action game we had that was the woman with a little fox companion.
Yes, the Flintlock.
Oh, what was it called? Flintlock.
Mhm.
That's it.
That's
Yeah,
the one
that's
I'm
the
looking
one,
forward
That,
to.
yeah, I think that. Yeah, overall, I just think it was an incredible show. Plus again, fans have been waiting for certain games, Overwatch 2 for one, and Silksong another.
Yeah.
Finally got. They got an actual announced date, a release date, sorry, for Overwatch 2 of October, and at least for Silksong, as much as Silksong didn't give them an exact release date, it gave them clarification that look, it will be out in 2023 at least. Might not be the first half, it might get delayed again, but we'll see.
Mm.
Yeah, that's my thoughts though.
Cool. So I guess I'll summarise pretty much in going. I have to agree with certain points that Kieran's made. I have to agree with certain points that Kylie's made, and I'm gonna sit. What a surprise! Right, slap bang in the middle of the pair here. I think this is a B+ for me. So,
Bit closer to mine, so I win.
I said C+, so he is smack in the middle.
So, yeah, I think for me there was some great announcements here, some really huge ones. Obviously, some games that we've been waiting to see for a long time. Like I said, with Starfield and Forza Motorsport, stuff that have been announced and out there but not really seen. So it's good to get some clarification on those. Nice to see that obviously they're making strides with, bringing a lot of games like console exclusives. It shows the turn of the industry, obviously, since the Xbox One generation, where Microsoft were pretty much the punching bag of everybody and nobody wanted to develop a game for them. So it's nice to see that studios are having a little bit more faith, and I definitely think we're starting more so ever than now than in the last few than the last few years, how much influence Phil Spencer is having across the entire Microsoft team or the Xbox team, including like filtering down across every single one of
Filtering.
the studios that they have. Yes, I did that intentionally.
That was great.
So it's
so
almost
tired.
like I might be a writer,
I see
possibly.
GP.
You know, writing reviews. You know, anyway. God damn you, put me off.
Sorry.
Bye train of thought. Been derailed, of course. No, so yeah, it's definitely having an effect for sure. Like Phil's leadership is definitely shining through more so than it did with the Dogmatric generations, you know, and the start of the Xbox One generation. He's turned that ship around. It's taken a long time to do so, and I was very highly critical the last couple of years with Microsoft because I didn't see anything in the horizon. They were announcing games a bit too early and not really showing anything, but now they're really punching out and sort of going, right, we didn't really know anything that was coming sort of this year from Microsoft, and now we know why, because they've been waiting to drop this nuke, basically. And it's had a huge impact, but I don't think it's had as huge an impact as State of Play did, actually. While Sony are sitting there going, yeah, we haven't got a lot for this year, we know we've got some incredible heavy hitters that are coming that are going to rival a lot. So I'm not playing into the fanboy speculation side of things more than anything, but I think this is a positive time if you're a fan of either console, which is sort of the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is a win for all gamers as such.
Always, yes.
So, you know me, Ciaran. You give me the face. He's thinking, what is he talking about with a Sony? No, I had a reason to bring it up.
It's more a point in the state of play being strong. I mean,
No, the state of play, like I said at the time, was very strong. I thought it was the best one that they've done in a long time.
Oh, you did say that, yeah.
Yeah,
you did say that, yeah.
So I was very impressed with their showing. I've been quite impressed with Microsoft showing. I think the only thing that I would say in terms of the announcements for me is there was a lot of fat that could have been trimmed off, but
hey,
I do sit with the fact that, you know, it was sort of something for everybody. So I'm not going to argue with that in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's a B+ from me. I'm very positive about Microsoft's future, especially in the next 12 months. But I think the only way that they need to go to retain this sort of goodwill that they're building up at the moment, and I know we've got big franchises coming soon with obviously Fable and Perfect Dark, but they need some big, heavy hitters from those first-party studios. And whilst acquiring studios is a good idea for them because it's building up that repertoire, they need those Xbox game studios like obviously 343 have released Halo in a bit of an incomplete state, but the Coalition, the Initiative, you know, we need those studios to show something big that's going to make you want to be an Xbox fan more so than anything that's coming to Game Pass.
I think what I'm looking forward to in terms of first party stuff is that I was really hoping we'd see something, but I'm happy to wait. As Obsidian's fantasy RPG. Because the rumours are that it's actually that instead of making like a completely new fantasy setting, they're going to base it in their already existing Pillars of Eternity universe, which is already fleshed out and popular.
But that's cool. But it's obviously the fact that they've got 2 games already in development. That I think that's why we haven't seen it, and I think there's something else still to come from them after those teams are done with their projects.
Outer Worlds.
Yeah, because there's Outer Worlds 2, and there's other.
Yeah,
Obsidian have like taken the mantle of Bethesda in the sense of making them player.
But that's what I mean. I think there's something else to come for them, and I really do think it is New Vegas too.
I think that's a long way down the pipeline if you ask me. But
I know it is, but I think there's going to be an announcement in the next couple of years of a New Vegas 2 being in development at least.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So.
It'll still come out before Elder Scrolls 6, but.
Anyway, I think that's going to cover us, isn't it? So
well,
we'll go over the chat anyway. So
yeah, do you want to quickly go through chat before
before you pass out and die from this boredom? So
I'm not bored at all. Please know that, audience.
I'm joking.
I love this. It's just a lot.
Okay, so we had a couple of questions, couple of comments. I'll just run through them as they came in at the time. So sorry once again. We decided to cover this in full, so we didn't keep focusing on the chat. So. Latino Heat said, "Hello, Rapid Reviews. Hope I made it on time."
You did.
You were here listening to us, so yeah, you made it on time. they asked, do you think Gears of War 6 will make it to Xbox this year, since that's a rumor?
I don't think so.
Unfortunately not.
I think it would have
No.
been announced. It would have been
No,
announced.
which is why I said I think the coalition needs to show something probably in the next 12 months.
Definitely.
Who knows?
'Cause
Maybe
I think those Gears fans are getting restless.
maybe Game Awards.
Right.
When then again,
Oh, that would be
there's
huge.
Gamescom
Yeah.
still. There's Gamescom. You know, these companies could be saving.
Oh
surprise
yeah.
news for Gamescom.
Yeah, there
show
could be stuff that they're holding back for that and the Game Awards. I do sort of expect there might be a couple of bigger ones, but maybe not massive, kind of like this quote E3 season we've
Fable.
become accustomed to.
Yeah.
Fable, Gears of War 6, and Outer Worlds 2. I would like to see that.
I think they might be a little bit too far off for Fable, considering we haven't had Forza Motorsport. Yeah, I think
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
see
wait
what
and
you're
see that come first.
Duh, of course. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting to put 2 plus 2. Yeah.
I
That's why we
know,
haven't
which
seen
is why I
anything.
have to temper your expectation, because you do go a little bit out there sometimes.
And just whoop.
Which is fine. You know. Okay, so a lot of people, myself included, said that there was going to be the GoldenEye remaster or remake.
Brent
this one?
thought that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so was it going to happen? I was quite surprised this didn't happen. So maybe them putting it on the old Xbox achievements was a bit of a red herring.
Ooh, that is a strategy. Throw
Either
people
that or
off.
who knows? Maybe it'll get announced at Nintendo Direct and they'll say it's also coming to Xbox there. I don't know.
That's
or
what
Xbox afterwards.
I
Could
wouldn't be
happen.
surprised if that's
It
the
could.
announcement. I did say that last time, didn't
Yeah.
I? That if I said if there's a Nintendo Direct, it's going to be there because of the Switch Online service, and they'll obviously, they'll flash up the Microsoft logo because it's rare. So Latino he also stated this was a nice comment. He said, "I'm impressed with reviews. You review tons of games. I just followed you guys on your YouTube channel. I'll do my best to check out your reviews and support your cause. Much appreciated."
It's so kind. Thank you very much. That's
Yeah.
far too kind. That's all we can ask
all-
for.
Absolutely. We also had a raid from Chloe with an audience who then came through and said, "Hello, I really like the look of Ravenlock. She unfortunately came in at the moment with to not speak overly kindly."
Yeah. I was going to say I saw Chloe say that she likes the look of Ark 2. I was going to, it's a shame because I'd have someone in solidarity with me there.
Yeah,
when
I
was
know, obviously.
reaching for it.
But I mean, I know obviously we sort of beat a dead horse on this one, but you can sort of see where I came from.
Oh, I know, I see where you're
Coming
coming
this
from,
one.
yeah.
I need to see the game. It's going to be the new Starfield for me. I need to see the game. Right, so then Tino Heats then put, "No worries, rapid reviews. I'm a patient man. Also, is Pete scared of spiders? I must ask. I'm absolutely petrified of them. Absolutely."
Looking at Pete, you wouldn't think it. Because Pete
Yes.
looks hard and he lives in the forest.
I was gonna
He's used to
say
things like
he
that.
It's not
wanders the
forest.
wilds. He's the wild man.
I'd never told you that nickname.
No, we gave you that nickname.
I'm joking anyway. Right, and then Latino he has also put a load of salt shakers
For
when we were
Sony
talking about
boys.
Sony, saying Sony is jealous of Microsoft.
Sony ponies.
Anyway, and then he also commented, I'll put the comment he praised and said no problem. So thank you very much for the comments that we had whilst we were doing our discussion. So, Kylie, do you want to wrap this whole thing up because it's 2.5 hours?
I sure do. So we really do. Yeehaw! We really do thank our audio listeners and our watchers for joining us on this crazy Monday night episode.
This is going to feel satisfying, sorry, just by the way. Bye-bye Xbox notes.
Okay, audio
For a
listeners.
second, I thought you were taking your sock off on camera.
No, I'm not that kind of guy.
Just watching Pete take his sock off and live on stream. Say, "Oh, let's let these puppies breathe."
I am not that
Oh.
kind of guy. Not that kind of guy. 100 quid.
Yeah. Our chat will suddenly fill up with "Show us your feet." But
It's like the bottom tier fetish. I'm not gonna lie.
If we can hit 200 followers,
oh gosh,
will
Pete will
send
show
you
his
pics.
feet.
No, I said 100 quid. Minimum.
I don't think they want money. They want feet.
I'm so
100
sorry.
No,
audio
I meant for me. 100
listeners.
quid minimum.
Right, what's 100 quid in like followers/donations.
I have no bloody idea.
Then donations is on
Kylie, let's move
What?
this conversation on very quickly before this devolves into stupidity like a hot
Well,
dog stream.
we'll get someone to clip this. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where's Nana? We need him to clip. Anywhere. Thank you so much because you could choose to It's very late at night. Anyway.
It's 9:30 at night and Kylie's officially run out of battery like the Duracell bunny.
I'm starting to, but we appreciate your presence because you could choose to share your time with anyone, and the fact that you choose to share it with us means a lot, a heck of a lot to all three of us. Oh, I almost forgot this part. Pete, where can they find you?
I did wonder. I was gonna. I was hoping you were gonna do that. We're gonna see you at like talk to you next week. I was gonna be like, wait. No, it's fine. Anyway, so do I. I've been needing to pee for about. Anyway, so yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at PeteBeckett1, spelled BECKEDD and the number 1, where I tweet mostly about video games. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting more and more frustrated on Twitter. I don't know if you've noticed some of my tweets going a bit weird.
I've pretty much sectioned myself off from Twitter.
I know, but I'm starting to get really bored of the Twitter narrative, so I'm sort of trying to challenge it as much as possible.
Well, there you go.
So, catch me on there before I get cancelled. Clearly, so. No, but you can also follow me on the Never Watchers podcast as well, where I talk to Kurt Lewin about Marvel films. So yes, he's on holiday at the moment, so I haven't been able to start Loki. So we'll get into that soon.
I was going to say, man, I need to know what you think, Pete.
We're on hiatus because he's on holiday and moving.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We've got to wait for a while.
That's right. But I'm also excited to
yes,
to hear what you guys think.
Yes,
Ciaran, what about you? I have one job on the ship. I have one job.
I didn't even do it earlier.
Ciaran, what about you?
Don't do that. If you desire to seek me out, you can find me on Twitter at the McGinn, THEEMCGINN. And on there, I want to try and start tweeting more. It's just that whenever I'm a perfectionist, try and write a tweet, and I'm like, no, it's not good enough, so just delete it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, really?
15 minutes to tweet out. Message out the Discord message earlier.
That's just brain diarrhea on mine.
And then,
Ciaran, let me just make you aware of one thing, right? The 1 or 2 times that I asked Kylie to once put out tweets, I had to go back and check this because of obviously the remaster stuff I did. The times that she put out tweets to ask for questions were the dumbest, but they also got the most engagement.
Yes, because I put some pervy stuff on there.
Yeah, like a dog pooing.
I did. Anyway.
With a boy patting it, saying it's pooping time. It was a good gift, but it was weird, and it had nothing to do with asking for questions.
It's because people on Twitter are on their toilets while they're on Twitter. That's the parallel. Anyway, Ciaran, what about the rest of the places they can find you?
But that's really it.
I
mean, if you really want, I'll give you my address, but I prefer not to.
No, I was talking about your blog. You didn't mention your blog.
Oh yeah. On my Twitter, you can find a link to my own blog, posplayereview.com, which again, it's been a bit in hiatus just now. I need to get back to writing. It's just that job hunting has been taking priority, first and foremost, and also Rapid Reviews UK, where you can find all my work there as well. And I'll hopefully be writing stuff for there soon as well. Maybe even some video stuff for the YouTube channels, because I have to do something like that. So yeah.
Here's a spoiler for everyone. All of the links are in the show description, so you don't have to try and remember this. You can just go click nice handy link.
It's not like you said handy link.
I had no idea what you said there.
Because nobody understands the kind of work that I've done on this document that I've got here, where there is actual individual manual links to all of those things in the description that you can just click, and it's nice and handy.
Pete works really hard behind the scenes. He worked hard
Even
for
your
the
blog,
money.
Kieran. Even your blog.
You make me tear up, Pete.
Is anybody gonna ask if they want to find me?
I'm getting to it, Kylie. Kylie, where can they find you on the social medias?
Well, this persona can be found at Kiley to Greet, which is KiLeyTheHGreet. I remember.
At least you remembered this week.
But like, okay, like, remember, anyone can come talk to me. I do not care. Like, I really do not care. Just don't start getting creepy in my inbox, because I do start, blocking people for that. But so my current thing I want to talk about, if anyone out there is bored enough and wants to hear me rant and ramble about complete BS philosophy stuff, I want to talk about AI getting a quote soul, which is in regards to the news story about Google and Lambda and all of that. I'm so hyped for that. Now I have no one to talk to. So
I went in a completely different direction I was ever expecting.
no, it's just what? Well, it's because, first of all, I'm very tired and I have 0 filters. And second of all, I posted what I thought would be a good conversation starter. Guess how many views it got? 20. I got 20 views. So, someone please come talk to me, please.
Sorry, I don't know much about the subject, so I couldn't really...
I know, no one
conversation.
does. It's
Apologies.
because I'm very boring. I'm so boring. Which is not a good way to get people to my channel. I need to stop talking. There's no filters in place. So thank you so much.
2 hours, 40 minutes, you know.
I'm trying my best here. Thank you so much to everyone. And we will see you and talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I personally would like to end the stream.
Yes.
Is everyone
I think we
okay? Or
covered-
do you want to
yes.
go
No, we covered pretty much
2
everything.
more minutes?
So...
Currently way past my bedtime.
I'm just rambling with
see.
no filters at this point, and I'm a bit scared
Very
of
dark.
what I might say.
Well, just be told I'm not going to bed. I will probably be digging out a couple of cupcakes and watching something. Perhaps you know what you need to watch. I'm caught with everything. Obi-Wan.
You know, actually,
Boys.
you know what? Let's just have a couple of minutes just to talk about what we're going to do over the coming week before our next episode.
I want to hear.
It was announced today that there's an Assassin's Creed 15-year celebration live stream.
Ooh.
And I'm
Oh,
hoping
It has been 15 years.
I am hoping-
Bloody hell.
Oh
I'm
no.
hoping for a Valhalla announcement for the last batch of content the game's getting throughout the rest of the year.
Cool.
New Game Plus, I'm hoping to be one of them. Maybe even a shadow drop of New Game Plus for it. That'd be so good.
Oh, that would be really cool.
And perhaps even another mythical DLC. That'd be another cool one to come along. Because we know, I'm pretty sure they said there was going to be another 2 DLCs in year 2. We've got one of
Right. Yeah.
them. That
they did
who knows?
say that.
Maybe even this Assassin's Creed game that is apparently like going back to its roots. I think it's Assassin's Creed Rift. We might even get to see something of that tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Just in case there is anything that might not be, but who knows. And then tonight I think I'm going to watch the first episode of Miss Marvel. So we'll see how that is.
Well,
mean-
Well, I'll guess I'll have to get to it at some point, but I will be honest, I haven't exactly heard positive things.
Well, I know it's been review bombed by certain types of.
that's the thing.
Not
Yeah.
touching, not
So that's
touching
why I'm not
that.
trusting too many reviews. Kun.
Well, I'm not touching that for a barge pole because there's been a lot of things said recently, and I got involved in a comment storm on
Oh dear.
on Twitter about this particular thing because I don't
missed that one.
believe that because I don't believe that the tweets that were raised were necessarily correct, because I don't think people were review bombing it for the reasons people think it is. I think people are review bombing it because it's shit.
Well.
Even then, come on, you got.
No,
yeah.
Same
Leave
thing with
bad reviews.
Same thing with Kenobi though, and look, you said
No,
to
Lena,
us
hold
that
on,
you-
hold on. Kenobi's
no,
bad,
you-
There was.
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean.
Stuff.
That there was
Audience,
some
I
stuff,
completely
but not
disagree.
everything. Not everything was, and a lot of people who had genuine criticisms of the story were shot down in that same respect, and that's what I didn't get on board with.
Oh yeah,
at all.
no, because the writing for Obi-Wan. Oh God, don't get me started.
Exactly, and you're the generation that grew up with that particular like Star Wars, and same with me as
I
well.
was gonna say, wait, Pete.
And
you and
same with
McGregor.
Kylie.
Yeah, he's been our Obi-Wan since we were kids.
I know, but
yeah.
I know that, so that's what I mean. But then, obviously the stuff that we've seen from Kenobi.
Yeah,
Like,
we're the
the
ones that
point I
pay
was
for
trying to make, that all three of us, like, grew
Nana,
up with
I
that
don't know.
generation. We grew
don't
up with that generation of Star Wars. So you would think they were catering to us a
I
lot more
still-
than anybody, and yet
I still remember
they
watching that.
bungled it so badly. From what I can see from the outside looking in, it looks like they've bungled it incredibly badly. But yet, all the criticisms that are being raised about them absolutely pooping all over the law that's been established since a very, very long time.
It's not even
It's just so stupid.
It's not even so much the law side of it. It's annoying me. It's just
No, that's what annoys me the most.
It's basic things like dialogue that just get on my nerves. There's just the tiny things like that make such a big impact.
Yeah,
but I mean,
to be fair, that does take me out as well.
Attack of the Clones, which to me is not Attack of the Clones, which I do love. That is not what I meant.
Clone Wars.
Wait.
The
Crap,
animated
I'm
one?
so tired. The third of the prequels.
Oh,
Revenge of the Sith.
Thank you. Oh my
Revenge of the
gosh.
Sith was good. I stand by it.
Yeah, it
Revenge
was
of the
Oh,
Sith
it's
was great.
good. It's my
The
favorite of the
first-
three. But the
first half
dialogue.
the first half
the
isn't
dialogue
great. The
is-
second half is much better.
The dialogue is
Second.
terrible. But
Yeah,
the
it's not
dialogue in Clone Worlds. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Clone
you guys talk. It's just not.
I mean, I'm ready. So,
Yeah, I'm ready to go. That's
yeah,
it. I just
But hi, Nana. There's tons of stuff for you to clip.
Oh, I didn't realise it was Nana. I thought that was Tia here again. I didn't see that. But hi, Nana. Like,
We're
yes,
gonna-
we're still going. Don't know how.
We're gonna wrap up this stream though.
Yeah.
So
Sheer force of will, let's say.
yes,
concentrated power of will.
I'm just trying to think of something funny, but I'm just
10% luck.
I can't.
20% skill. 15% concentrated power of will.
Sorry, P. I couldn't remember.
There's 5%
Anyways,
pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna end this.
And on that note, we're going to end.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.